Hello, hello. Happy post Dr. Pepper Day, which I totally forgot to talk about yesterday. Hold on. I have pictures. I think. Do I have pictures? Let's see. Should have a picture somewhere. Definitely do. There we go. That's a good picture. That summarizes everything perfectly. This is a cursed images for sure. How do I do this? It's been a while since I've used Imager on my computer, huh? Those are super cute. I love them. They also fit really well, which you can't always say about fun socks. Okay, here we go. Hold on, I need to add a command. Add pepper. There we go. Important stuff. Completely unrelated to the stream, but it was yesterday was a holiday, and we celebrated with that. Half the time you get random cute socks. I feel like the doctor socks you get. I forget the name of them. Oh, like those like really cheap ones you just get in like hospitals, or like the ones they give you at the skating rink if you forgot socks. Oh, those kinds of socks. Oh, compression socks. Those are completely different than the kind I was picturing. Yeah, they tend to be like very non-elastic and just kind of like squeeze because they didn't make them stretchy. They just made them out of like pure cotton or pure polyester or something. Yeah, that's a pretty common feeling. It usually when I get those, I just have to wear them not very high because otherwise they just squeeze my leg. More burners. Okay, made the announcements, uploaded my pepper, my cursed pepper image, and I'm good to go. I believe. Okay, so last stream, at the very end of last stream, we worked on we it was very painful to watch, I imagine, for anybody who understands circuit logic. I get how to do the logic part. Like, I know how if and statements work, but I really struggle to put them into combinator form. I don't know why. There's just something about the symbols they have that just don't mesh well with me. Like, even though I get like the if then statements I need to use, I just can't put them in combinator form. It takes a while, but we did manage. We did manage. I can usually do like one combinator. It's when I have to chain like two combinators together that I struggle. Fortunately, chat helped a bit. It turns out I keep forgetting to output the symbol that I'm filtering. Is That's generally where the problem is. I try to just put some random like true condition. I never put the output condition correct. So I get the if part. I just don't get the outcome. Cool. I'm glad I'm not alone. I don't know what it is. I get the basics of like the logic. It's just there's something about their symbols, but I always figure it out. It just takes way longer than I want it to. But the important thing is we now have a memory cell, which if I'm being honest, I have like two or three different ways that I do them. Just with I choose a random combinator and it's like I'm doing a memory cell with this one this time. Don't know why, but we are now counting how many roboports and battery packs we output because we are putting them on one belt. We're doing a sushi belt that sends the stuff from here all the way up there. And because of that, we don't really know how much stuff we'll have. So we have to be a little bit careful and, actually count. Otherwise, it's going to completely back up. So worst case scenario, the combinator gets placed a little bit late. We do produce a couple extra. Not the end of the world. As long as we don't produce like an entire belt extra, we're good. And I think everything. I haven't checked the sushi. Which is kind of bad. It's pretty high on the list, but yeah, we haven't checked the sushi, so we're just hoping it's correct. We're hoping I followed it correctly. But it's a lot of belts combined. Is there a video? We don't have a quick video. That I could maybe I should like do an overview real quick. Or do just like record some overall review. The general design idea, obviously, no burner, no electricity. Well, we have electricity. We don't have electric inserters. We don't have electric drills. We don't have electric furnaces. So admittedly, that one doesn't affect it that much. Early on, the biggest design philosophy we have is the coal grid. So for everything that's built by hand, we want it to be clean and we want it to be what I consider safe. So you can't have self-feeding inserters. Like you can, but generally speaking, if you have a self-feeding inserter, it's gonna die at some point. Oh God. Hold on. This is an annoying bug to fix sometimes. It actually wasn't too bad. But yeah, the biggest design philosophy we have is the coal grid. So every 5 tiles, we have a row of coal going in the start. That's a perfect length for smelters and also assembling machines. It lets you get up to 4 inserters plus 1 output onto an assembling machine, or 3 inserters plus any combination of that. But you can do up to 5 inserters total going to an assembling machine that way, which is almost full speed for most recipes. But the big thing is none of the inserters are self-feeding that way, so they're grabbing from a belt, like so. And that is because if you have them self-feed and there isn't a cap, there's a very good chance, like if there's no coal in this belt, that's actually hard to simulate, hold on. Well, let's just do it. Let's just do it over here. Let's just do chest to chest. But if there's no coal, it can move about 4 times before it dies. Somewhere around, it depends how it's grabbing, anywhere from 3.5 to 5 times. Or like up to 6. So that happens if it's self-feeding. It would have no way to get out of that. So that's why we have this coal grid. Voila. Now, they are self-feeding in very specific situations where they are guaranteed to get coal before they run out of the free actions. That applies to furnaces and plastic, and that's actually it. It just plastic and furnaces. Everywhere else, we don't have self-feeding without logic. We're avoiding logic in a lot of places because it does become performance heavy. We're usually only using it if it's the only choice we have. So that coal grid applies to basically this bottom portion of the base, this little boot here. And that's when we switch to bots, because we are allowed construction bots, not logistic bots. And after that, we care more about performance. So we do a lot of direct feeding, like so, which does actually line up with the coal grid. They just go on their own localized grids after this point, because it gives me a lot more flexibility in the builds. But after this, it just becomes pasting a lot of blueprints for like the next 2 hours to try to get a base that can produce. It's not a lot, but for burners it is 180 science per minute of each, which sounds like such a small amount, but with burners it's real hard to do. It's real hard to do that with burners. So we want to produce 3 science per second of everything, because we have to get every achievement over the course of the next like 3 to 4 hours. 3 science per second is enough. It struggles, but it is enough. And then after that, we switch to the outposting phase. So all of this stuff right here goes to science. And then the next, literally half of our base right here and a little bit here is for outposting. So that's for the green chip achievement, which I'm not sure if you are too familiar with the 100% runs, but getting 20 million green chips is 90% of the resources for the run. So it makes sense that it is half the base, at least. And this literally just builds remote outposts for us. So it builds enough burner drills, furnaces, underground, stuff like that for us to go locally produce green chips in faraway patches, and we do nothing with them. We just store them forever. So that's what this part of the base is for. It's like 15 something, I think, rows of iron, and then like 5 rows of copper. The only advantage burners doesn't have is you don't use much copper, which really simplifies things. And those are producing resources for... See, I guess we fixed one bug, so we should save this. For the outpost. And the outpost uses it's the similar, it's a similar idea. Let's see, final redesign version 2. I hate my naming schemes. Uh, it's a general design philosophy to the 100% electric bases, except for we have to get coal, so we locally produce a whole lot of solid fuel, which means it takes about 30 to 45 minutes for an outpost to actually start once we build it. Because producing 20,000 solid fuel to start the whole thing it takes a damn long time. I'm just putting that out there, because we can only produce like 30 to 60 per second, so that's like 20 minutes of production just to fill the belts, and that uses direct feeding as well. So is this the right one? Yeah. So it uses a lot of direct feeding. It has some logic for inserters that aren't safe, and safe just means can it get fuel before it dies from its starting fuel. So that's what we mean when we say safe. They're not guaranteed it, but usually like 99% of the time, the inserter will start running before it dies. Like it'll start feeding itself before it dies. And if it's not completely safe, we put it on logic, and then that makes it a lot more safe. It's still not perfect. There are some edge cases where this could technically die. The chances are that are incredibly low, so we're not too worried. And it just direct feeds two steel furnaces, 3 copper furnaces, just going directly into the assembly machines. This one is very, very much not running at full speed. These 2 are running close to full speed, and it just stores them in chests until the end of the run. It can run for about, I think, 4 hours, somewhere around 4 hours before they die, or before the chests fill up. So theoretically, that's long enough. Though the first couple outposts will probably stop running before the end of the run, but they won't make a huge difference. That would just be like a 5% loss in production when I'm like 20 minutes from ending. So I'm not too worried about that. It gets a lot more complicated and a lot bulkier if I want to make them run for 6 hours. So I figured on average I would save more time just having them stalled than to have a build that could run longer. But we'll see if that's true. A lot of that depends on performance as well. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. It's pretty close to being complete, the design is. I'm a lot busier this month than I thought it would be, so I'm hoping I can at least do the run one time before the expansion. Although there is a chance I might not be able to run it until the expansion comes out. We'll still run it on this version. It just won't be a valid submission anymore. But it's not technically an official speedrun category, but I could submit it to the generic 100% run, which I kind of want to do. But it's pretty close to being complete. We have like every major build done. We just need to do some staging, so split it into smaller spots for builds, or for bots, because right now we have like 5 to 10,000 entities per blueprint, which is a lot. Is it possible to split the outpost into phases so bots build it better? It doesn't save much time, so I'm not too concerned about that. This builds in like 5 minutes. So splitting it up would probably lose me more time mechanically than it saves in bot building time. And saving a couple minutes on an outpost that takes 45 minutes to start isn't a huge, isn't really a huge priority. I would much rather just have the consistency in building them. Hello, OG Ghosty. Welcome, welcome. Thanks so much for the raid. What is the time goal? We are aiming for 12 hours. I think 12 hours is reasonable. I think theoretically the base could do lower with practice, but I think first run 12 hours to 16 hours is very much a reasonable estimate. That's allowing times for me to make mistakes or have to go get food or something if I'm not fully prepared. But because of staging differences and just not knowing the build too well, I think we'll lose at least like an hour or 2 over what the base is capable of just while we're learning. We'll do a little bit of like segment practice before, but we're not going to do like whole run segment practice. Just practicing the pre-bot phase, because that the faster we do that, the better, because we do have to beat GOTLAP. We have a 90-minute time goal we have to meet initially to get GOTLAP, and then we have 6.5 hours after that to launch our first rocket, which with electricity, absolutely trivial to get both of those. With burner inserters, it's a lot tighter than I would like. So I just want to make sure I can do those consistently. And we need to double check our blueprints. But there's not a ton left to add in terms of actual additions to the base. Well, 6.5 hours, so after the 90-minute mark. So you have 8 hours. It's not to complete the run. That's to get, what's it called? There's no spoon. You have 8 hours total to launch a rocket, which generally there's enough time. It's just burner inserters are really, really, really bad. So it's a little bit tighter than I would like, but I think the blueprints are solid enough that we should be okay. Because without blueprints, I managed to do it in like 7.5. 750. It was close. But with blueprints, that's hours saved easily on designing. Especially since we have a lot of our base optimized for bot build speed and entity count early on, which you can't really do without blueprints. At least not to the degree we did it. But yeah, I'm not aiming for 6.5 hours for the run. That's just how long I have before I can relax. Once I get There Is No Spoon and GOTLAP, there's no fail conditions after that. It's just I don't want to spend a ton of time running, so I want to finish as fast as possible, but at least I can't literally fail. We still need to do the power plant. We need to do some stone connections. We need more robots at the big mall. So I don't think... I don't think. I don't think I want to do the power plant today. I was thinking I would, but I actually want to get better, more updated blueprints of that before I work on that, and I forgot to ask. After rocket, there is time for a pee break. Yeah, there's probably a lot of times where I can take breaks by just pasting an extra couple stages and just AFK. After rocket will be a good break time, and then right before outposting, whenever we paste this final blueprint. Like our staging, because we're unpracticed, isn't the best, so our outpost does go up and start filling a little bit later than it should, so I don't think we'll be able to. It'll be like 20 minutes after we paste this blueprint before we can actually build an outpost. So we can do what we can by like pre-building this train stations and stuff, but at the end of the day, we're probably just gonna have to take a 10-minute break there to wait for the base to start building some stuff. Because there just isn't there isn't a ton of like, there isn't like a mini outpost I can build while I wait. Not that I have designed, and I just don't think it's worth the time investment to design one, at least at this point. Maybe if we do a revisit for 2.0. But we need stone connections. So I believe this is the most up-to-date stone blueprint we have, and it can do, it looks like 4 belts of stone. I'm pretty sure we need 3. And as far as I know, it's not 4 belts of stone. It's this can do 3 belts of stone from 4 belts. Yeah, it mines about 3. Once I get mining productivity, we'll mine a little bit over that. So we just need to figure out where those are. So this is 1 yellow belt. There's nothing down here. It looks like I am sending some stone up to the top, but that's already taken care of. Okay. So I am expecting to get 3 yellow belts from the starting area. 4 yellow belts. Actually, those are optional. 2 to 4 yellow belts from the right-hand side. Okay, that's reasonable. And I think that leaves 2 to 3 up here. I just need to figure out where they are. Okay, so this is 1. So 1 is lower. 2 is right there, and then I think that might actually be it. I think, yeah, because one of them's a red belt and the other one's a yellow. So that is not tricky at all. Although we do need to loop this around a little bit more than I was expecting, but other than that, it's not too bad. Okay. And then these are short enough that we can just use full belts. Okay, if we move this over, this is the wrong stage. we're, our staging isn't perfect, but we are trying to get something. Oh, all of this is the wrong stage. Hold up. Okay. Stage move. There we go. These are actually on a different stage. These are on this one. Because these are, as far as I know, these are just designed to completely break the train to make it that my mining train doesn't try to go there later, which is why it looks like such a weird blueprint. I don't fully understand how they work. That is, got that design from the electric base, and it seems like it's important, so we left it, but probably not. It's probably, I don't know. I don't think it's going to make a major difference, but just in case it does, I did not want to, I didn't want to push it, you know? That didn't seem like it was worth the risk. Okay, that isn't worth trying to save. This we can move. Okay, so that's one of the stone patches, and the other one is here. As long as it works, don't ask questions. Yeah, that's fair. Now, I know technically I only need a yellow belt of resources here, but I feel like if I use a red belt, that gives me, it gives me more flexibility. So that's what we're rolling with here. Flexibility in case I need to supplement one of the starter patches. How do I get out of here? I think if I keep going through, I see a line down here I can cut across. Yeah, okay, that should be all right. And now we can go down, and now we should be pretty close. Yeah, no, we're doing all right. Do I get this early enough? Yeah, okay. My staging is correct here, I think. Yeah, yeah, this is fine. This is just pre-placing the belt for later, so we don't actually place it until 4.1, where the stone thing is there. There's not connected copper. What? Okay, we'll have to check that out then. I'll use a red belt here. Not connected copper. Is that on the list? Was I aware of that? I'm not sure. Okay, where is this? Where's this broken copper? Oh, are you talking about this one? That one comes. This is like a really early stage. This comes from my original patches. This one? Or do you mean something else? Okay, yeah, this one is connected from here. We just haven't done it all the way. Because this one, I believe, is an iron train. So our choice was to connect it from here or to connect it from original patch. So that one should be on the list. Basically, anything under this point is supposed to be original patches, minus like these two. But that is our goal for today, is to connect those things. So if we're missing any after the stream, then it's a problem. What does this do? Oh, that's an interesting way to prio it. Have we done that before? Okay, the logic is here as well. Oh. I was like, that seems familiar. That's not my first time seeing it. It was just my first time noticing it. Okay. So we don't need local fuel production here, I don't think. It looks like one yellow belt is good enough as well. So if we just do a second compressor, we actually need a tile. We need to push it back a tile so that way we can loop it around. We compress it. We send it through, and voila. Okay, that wasn't too bad. It is his last saving if there is a lot to back up to not block unloading. Yeah, I figured that's what it did. I was just making sure that was the correct belt before I hooked it up, basically. But yeah, that tracks. Oh yeah, it's a lot more necessary with this design because it's actually like, efficient and short. That's why we didn't need it originally. But yeah, now that these are actually compressed and small patches, it helps a lot to have a secondary set of logic. Because otherwise, the only thing it can back up is this, which is like 50, maybe 100 solid fuel. Whereas theoretically, this could recycle up to 400. It's not likely, but it can do up to 400. Okay, there we go. I'm pretty happy with that now. See, we have an internal buffer, pretty small, nice. Okay, that should be good. Okay, so we have no estimates actually. I don't know how much I'll be able to get from original patches. Should I just like load the world record seed and or I guess I don't need a normal. I guess I don't need a world record seed. I just need a seed in general. Any seed? No. 100. I swear I have one run somewhere that's like it's an old base, but I definitely have an actual run somewhere. Original run? No, that's my original run. Normal 100 design. That's just the design phase though. It might not be on this save. I think I do those tests. I think I was doing those tests through the Steam version. Don't remember why. I had a specific reason, but I forgot. Macros got lab modified. Why is that under burner percent planning? Also, I forgot that I used to play that. Industrial era. What is that? Oh, that's what I jokingly was calling burner percent, and then I realized people actually had Industrial Revolution was a mod, and I was like, yeah, that's too close to the title. Okay, huh. Let's load a different Factorio version. I think this is the one that has it. Because I just want to see... I don't want to have to re-roll a bunch, but I want to see what a good map is in terms of resource count. So we actually, before we switch over... Oh wait, I can have both loaded at once. I was going to exit this version, but unless I'm doing a UPS test, there's really no downside to having two Factorio instances. Aside from potentially double music, which we can fix. Yeah, like right now, there's definitely double music. Music, 30%. There we go. Okay, that version's still loading. Let's see. 100p 414. That's actually much more recent than I thought. Apparently, I downloaded... this one's probably Derek's, maybe? I don't recognize that name, so I'm going to assume it's Derek's. You wanted to play IR3, but the start feels too slow for you. That's fair. Anything that is like, hey, we're gonna force you to use coal for a really long time is pretty slow. What is this? Complete done, it's over, this is finished. Go go somewhere else, all done, don't look here. Big long test to make it obvious this is done. Oh, this is what you meant by... Okay, I get it. No, this is what you meant when you were saying they have a separate blueprint to disable the outpost. That's hilarious. No, that's great. Okay, so these are the starter patches. Oh, it forces you to use Steam. I thought you could skip a lot of the Steam and just do coal. The Steam's not too bad because you can pass it through each of the machines, but it definitely makes the builds a little bit bigger. I've only played for like 2 hours though, so I don't know how it scales. But early on, I'm like, oh, this Steam's cool. You don't need to put coal in the belt. But I imagine if you wanted a slightly larger base, it could be rough. Okay, so we're trying to compare this right here. We're trying to get an idea of how many patches are reasonably here. Of course, we're doing it in terms of burner stuff, so that makes it a whole lot worse. I'm not in editor mode. Why are my hotkeys vanilla? What the heck? Weird. That feels so weird. I must have reset it at some point. Okay. So a traditional burner design designed around bots would look something like this. And then we have a 2-tile gap, and then we have more. I am not that concerned with making it actually correct, so we're going to do, because I don't care about the inserter cost right now, so we're just going to do something in between that disables the tessellation, but we're not going to worry about getting any sort of entity estimate. We just care about patch size right now. So this should be something we can now copy. Oh my gosh, none of the buttons are the same. Yeah, this is just vanilla keys, which don't work for me most of the time. Okay. So this would suck, but I think we will have to maximize patches like this. So this is 99, so this is 2 belts. Actually, let's get a count. Oh, wait, sorry, I didn't switch over the screen. Okay, so we need... Let's see, is this piece of paper scrap? Let's see, this is a recipe for tacos. That's important paper. Here we go. Here's a notebook, which is full of ECS, STS. This is chemistry, I think. Or it's Factorio, one of the two. That's either cubic centimeters or... Yeah, currently I am actually on this one. So we're good. Right now it's just me looking. But I have to manually toggle between the two because it doesn't know. But yeah, I forgot I didn't close out of this one. Okay, so we need 4 iron, 1 copper, 2 iron. Actually, why don't I just use it? Why don't I use a table for this? Wouldn't that make a lot more sense? Iron, stone, copper. Don't know why I put stone on the table. We already have that figured out. Stone, we need 3 plus 3 plus 4. No, 3 plus 3 plus 2. 7 total. Iron, we're up to 4. Copper, we're up to 1. Iron, we're up to 6. Copper, up to 3. And then for iron, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Are any of these half lanes? I don't think so. 9 lanes of iron. Okay, 9 lanes of iron. 1 of copper. This was side loaded. That seems fine. 2 more of iron. Gee, Jesus, how am I gonna do this? Another 2 of iron. Another 3 of iron. Another 1 of copper. And then this is the last copper, right? And then it switches to train. And then after the trains, I don't care. I don't care about the values. So if we sum those up, 15, 17, 21, 24? Copper next to concrete, too. I think I counted that one. I'll put a question mark. I'll put 7, 8 next to copper, because I don't think that makes a huge difference. So we need 24. Let's see, 1, 2. So 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now I definitely feel like I missed something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So somewhere between 6 to 8 lanes of copper. It's good enough. Good enough. I don't Copper's low enough that I don't think it's going to be a problem. So we somehow need to get 24 belts of iron from one side. I don't think it's as awful as it sounds. It's not great. But I think there's worse things. Okay, so it should be switching over now. There we go. Much nicer. Okay, so yeah, 24 lanes of iron, and then we get trains. Which, that's not a lot. Like, obviously, you can see here that they have, like, 15 lanes over here. And then they have these as well, which, this looks like it could have been a train, but yeah, I imagine they also use a very large amount. See, 6 is for electric base 2, and they use 22 to 24 of iron. Okay, so I'm glad that our pre-chain train phase is basically the same. That honestly feels kind of nice. However, that's going to be a whole lot harder for me to get. So we'll mark this as... Let's get a blue pin out. There we go. So we can get... From our starter patches, we're going to have to be a lot more dense than they are. But I think realistically we would be able to use like all of that and most of this. We would just... I think we'll just have to take the time to dismantle it. This will be very annoying to use, but I think we can use it. If you have 8 of copper, then it's just weird to have more than them. Honestly, yeah. Especially since I don't use copper. So I think it's just up to 6. I don't even think we use that many. A lot of it is also our train phase is a little bit later than theirs in terms of how much we've already built in our base. Okay, so what a good-sized iron patch to start with. This is 4. I think realistically we'll have to add 20%. We have to assume we at least have mining productivity 2. So that's 240 times 1.2. So that's 288 divided by 60. That doesn't really... That's almost 5. I think we could probably get a lane or 2 out of this. So that puts it up to 6. So we can get 6 from the starter patch. 6-ish from the starter patch. Okay. The nearby patches... You know, maybe I should make a bigger blueprint. That would make sense, huh? There we go. Oh, that did not work. What's the undo button? Control Z. Okay. I have delete as my undo button because I use Z for other things. Drop and stuff, and I found out that when I was doing speedruns that I used to hold control like pretty much all the time and would keep dropping stuff, which was bad. Okay, so that's another 4. So we're up to 10 now. Okay, that's not too bad. 20 is seeming a lot more reasonable now that it's seeming a lot more reasonable. Seemed like an awful goal to start with, but I forget how large patches are. Like they're pretty big, right? Like they max. It's almost like maxing out stuff is helpful. Okay, so that's really only like 3, so we're up to 13, and we still don't have trains, so that kind of sucks. But well, what can you do? And then that's another 2, so we're up to 15. So we would have to go basically to one of these patches. I think you need to make early blueprints for miners for pre-bot era. Yeah, so that would sacrifice... Honestly, it's not... Bots don't actually make the lanes. They wouldn't change how I build the mining outpost. It's actually, do I have the undergrounds is the real question. So like here, obviously these would look different. So I guess we round it up, so we'll subtract one. We'll say we have 14. That's really all we would lose. But honestly, the most dense way to easily place stuff with bots is also the way that you would place things by hand. They're pretty similar speed as long as you have the undergrounds. Just to see how they look on ores and earlier countings. Yeah. They're not that different. It's one tile wider for these. So it looks something like this. So yeah, that can still get a decent amount of lanes. It's not that much worse. So that gives me some consolation. It is worse, but it still gets 250. So plus 20%. Yeah, it still gets 5 lanes barely. So that's the pre-bot build roughly. We do have another design that we might use, which has similar density, which looks like I'm just gonna be lazy and do this. So, something like this. This one does require some red belt, but I'm expecting us to need red belt to make our builds better. It's risky because we're putting red belt on self-feeding inserters, but it comes late enough that I think it'll be okay. Okay, so if we were using this design, oh yeah, we easily get enough. Okay, so yeah, they're similar density. So that's one of those two designs is what we would use, and then we'd switch to the other design around here. Okay, so we're up to 14 since we're overestimating that one. Ugh. Our base definitely is larger. I like how they have an outpost here. Like they're already starting to use this iron, and we have to use what's effectively would be the first outpost as our supplementary iron, just because our drills are so much worse. But you know, we do what we can. I made the blueprint in a terrible way. This is way more manual than I wanted it to be. Okay, but this is like a pretty big patch, right? So this is 460. That if I can get up to that, that is like 12 lanes of ore. 60 times 1.2 divided by 60. No, I overestimated that. That's 9 lanes of ore. But that brings us to 23. 5 lanes from where they took 6. Not bad, not good if you have in mind prod 2 from the start. Yeah. Yeah, that's basically what we're basing it off of, having prod 2. Now, the thing is, most of our patches, most of this ore that we need, like we need like 6 lanes of ore before bots. After that, we will have prod 2. So I am including 20% for these because these will be adapted to using mining productivity, like they'll be compressed elsewhere. It will be a little bit annoying, but I think I need a plan for having that. They just won't have it for a while, but 4 lanes out of this is good enough for a long time. Honestly, 3 lanes out of this is good enough for a long time. And then we'll get 6, and then we'll get 5, and then we'll get mining productivity. And then we'll be almost as good as a 100% base, except for the fact that we have to use the entire patch in compressors, and they can use just 1 row of it, which is unfair. But yeah, we'll have to connect like 9 rows of ore to this, which will be incredibly annoying. especially since it has to go 300 dials. So we'll need like 2,000 belt to connect this, but that's fine. Or just roll to a moment of 4 big or 3 big and 2 small patches spawning near spawn and saying rest is relatively okay. Yeah, that is also an option. We can be slightly pickier about the like medium distance stuff and care less about, what do they call it, backhand? Is that backhand? So if we're a little bit pickier about like this patch being a little bit closer, I think we'll be fine. And then the copper patch. We only need 6 total, apparently. I can't count. I somehow counted 7 when there was 5, and I missed one, so that meant there were 6. So this is 5 lanes, and then the starting patch would also give me the 2. Okay, so we just need to plan for 1 copper connection. That's about 4 copper for 4, copper for 2. And I'm naming it like that because that's just telling me where I need to connect my splitters, basically. Now, iron's annoying. We'll have iron for like 2, or iron for 4. We'll have a 4 connection. We'll probably have like a 2 connection. And then we'll have maybe multiple like 6. Maybe we'll have sets of 4 and I can split them as needed. That seems reasonable, right? Yeah, if I just have them all in sets of 4, I can connect. I think I can make that work. Because I don't know how much they'll carry. Just don't care backside like they do. They are already picky for maps anyway. You don't need to be anywhere except spawn. Yeah, that is very fair. Also, that's what it's called. Thank you, backside. I was like, I knew they had a word, but I could not think of it. Okay, so we'll be a little bit pickier for our starting iron. We really just need this to be a little bit closer, and we should be fine. Honestly, even if we have to walk over there, it's not the end of the world. Though it is funny to think that we'd be belting something this far away. I do like how they actually make use of train. Wait, what the heck? Oh, that's, that makes sense that they would do stuff like that. What's the basic? Okay. It's literally just that. That's all you have to do to make intersections. Okay. I was worried that our trains would break if we did something like that, but I think we're okay. What is interesting? What is this? Oh, I see. This is an extra. I'm assuming they have a train on here, and this is just for preloading the three drills they need, so that way they can make this smaller. Maybe it would be possible belt from GC side what they have. What's GC side? Oh, you mean like this? So the reason that I wouldn't be doing a belt like this, most likely, it would work really well. The reason I'm not planning for it is because I think I'll be using a controller, and I think connecting a train is easier than connecting this many patches of ore. But we'll see. We'll take our base and we'll paste it on a couple like potential maps and see how things look. To see if I think I could reasonably do this with a controller. Because basically what I'm thinking, up until bots and very early post bots, so for the first couple patches, so like basically up through connecting this, we'll be using bots. And then, or we'll be using a mouse and keyboard. And then as soon as we get trains up and running, we'll then switch to a controller to take a break, and we'll probably be using a controller for the next couple hours while we're pasting blueprints, just for our main base, just so I can rest. And then we'll probably start our outposting with the mouse and keyboard once I've recovered a bit, and then we'll switch back to controller once things get a little bit, once I get more practiced in like the timings. I think that would work well. And it just makes it that this phase where I'm attaching all of these will be done basically entirely with a controller. So I want it to be one train, one power pole, and we're good. But we'll see. Um, it might be more complicated. It's hard to say. Hello, Goldener Wolf. Welcome, welcome. This is not my design, if anyone's wondering. This is an actual speedrun base. I was trying to get an idea of how many patches they had access to early on. Not many. Okay. So now we can switch back to this one. Factorio 1.01. There we go. Okay. So this one's a little bit weird because I'm planning around this being a later upgrade. Don't know exactly how I'm going to make that work, but I think I can make it work. What is this? What is that? Why did I put that there? Oh, I probably just need to get a minor pattern to blueprint real quick. Okay, so we need groups of 4 makes a lot of sense. Except it really doesn't. No, it really doesn't here. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so it is 6. Confirmed to be 6. So these would be a connection. This could probably also come from a starter patch. So the next copper would probably be up here, actually. We want to find the earliest blueprint it's needed in. That is very annoying. That's needed way earlier. Okay. Well, actually, yeah, it's fine. It's okay. So we're gonna say three lanes of copper. I think it could look like this. And then one of them goes down. I think 2 of them go up, I believe. So this would connect here. Okay, that should be all right. We could put a compressor here. Don't think we necessarily need to, but it is an option. Yeah, honestly, this connection wouldn't be terrible to do by hand. The other option is connecting them down here and sending them up, but I think what we could do is we could start with just a compressor here and maybe be okay. I'm trying to figure out how far I can reasonably consider the edge of my base, which is probably a tricky thing to just guess, right? Like that depends on a lot of things that we don't really have answers for. So I think we can just connect things a little bit, just based on feeling, right? Now this, unfortunately, we don't have access to red belt yet. Actually, we almost have access to red belt. But ideally, I would not use it, so let's try to go around if we can. Because we haven't fully finalized our red belt production at this point in time. So I think if we do a connection like that, we should be okay. Yeah, that works out. And then there's one more copper patch, right? We missed it. This is going the wrong way. Okay, well, that's an easy fix. Once again, missed that one. So we'll delete this. We'll send this one around, and we'll delete this one. There we go. Easy. See, easy fix. Not a big mistake at all. We've made way worse. So this somehow needs to connect down here. Okay. What is this? It is a bug. Okay. These ones are annoying to get rid of. Sometimes if you like cycle through the layers, you can find which layer it's technically on and press the delete button. But doesn't always work. So we're just gonna ignore it like usual. We're gonna hide our problems and hope everything is okay. Yeah, it'll be fun. I hope I like that people are actually interested in running the base. And it'll be cool because we can get different ideas, different improvements. Well, crowdsource. Well, I guess it's already kind of crowdsourced, but to even more degree. I think I'm going to go around. I don't know why, that just looks a lot cleaner to me. We'll make it easier to fix things later. We accidentally sideloaded some stuff there, but that's okay. Okay. So that's where we're connecting copper. And then these will probably be one connection. So these are done by hand. I think copper, we will have splitters automated by now, so I could plan to send it into a compressor. That seems reasonable. Yeah, there's definitely some things that can be improved for sure. And this stuff is connected by hand, actually, so that means that would look like this. Something like that. But yeah, there's definitely improvements to be had. A lot of the improvements I have in mind just require a lot of a redesign too. Like I want to redesign the outpost. However, redesigning the outpost is a whole lot of work, and I want to run it first because it would take too long. But I think if we design a larger outpost that doesn't connect two patches, I think that would be better. We just didn't do that because it's really hard to make a circular mining patch. See, but doing them without blueprint save would be tedious. Fixing logic that breaks if you repaste it into it. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, logic is definitely... Well, fortunately we don't have any, as far as I know, we don't have anything that changes logic as we go through the stages. Not intentionally, at least. I think the benefits from those are generally pretty small. And then this, I don't think we need to worry about a compressor here. I'm trying to think how I would attach it normally. And it would look something like this, and then this connection would be done from a patch far out there. And then we would probably have a pair of connections over here that we use to supplement it. Like so. Which these technically don't have to have a blueprint. We could just do a combinator style setup and then I can figure it out. I think that could work. Basically, I'm just trying to do this to get an idea of what I want the edge of my base to be. So we would actually connect this one first, I think. That doesn't really make sense there, does it? Yeah, no, it does. Yeah, we could figure that out. Yeah, we're just trying to plan the edge of the base. We can be flexible. These don't exist here. They are now down there, which is actually really annoying, but that's okay. Actually, is it okay? Where would I be connecting stone? Honestly, connecting it on the bottom, it's not the worst thing in the world. I feel like up here could be easier, but this is... If I'm doing one up there is easier. I guess for this many down here is easier. Okay, so this would smart belt over. I don't know which order I would build these. Oh, iron would be here first. So it would actually probably look something... Since this upgrade would be later, smart belting would look something like this. Yeah. So that's how those would cross. But this Marty is already broken to pasting stage prints in. House. Yeah, I guess it does. The mod breaks with a lot of imported blueprints. I guess I shouldn't be surprised that stage blueprints would also break it. Okay, and then this is when it gets to bot stuff. So this is when we can start making the connections awful. Maybe not. Maybe our goals shouldn't be awful. Maybe our goals should be... Actually, where should we do this? Should we connect it over here? We should probably connect it over here, huh? Like these two spots. Yeah, because these are bots. These are all done completely... These aren't done by bots. These are done by bots. And even then, they're not really done by bots. Okay, so if they're not done by bots... Do I want access... Do I need to be able to get my train out of here? I really don't. Here is fine. So maybe I should just plan for them being lower. Okay, so I think since these are connected by hand, something like this works. Ooh, but these would not be. Maybe if I go through here. I'm trying to figure out how I can avoid these undergrounds, and I think this works. Okay, that's okay. And then 2 connections here. And then a connection here. So I would connect them there by hand, and then it gets to bot stuff. So this is enough stuff that starting to build that bots can finish it for me. Yeah. Honestly, I probably don't need to be that particular with these. I really just need like guidelines. I just haven't done enough 100% stuff, as in, 0% that I don't really know what a good amount of like starting. I don't know what good markers are. That's a good way to phrase it. Okay, fortunately this stuff is done by bots, so I don't have to have this be easy to remember or easy to smart belt. Okay, that can stop there. And then we'll just make these go as far as they can, because honestly the entity savings here are pretty decent. And I think now, at this point, we have enough underground that it's not that big of a deal if we do shorter ones. Obviously, we don't want to waste the iron if we can avoid it, but it's not difficult. But yeah, this stuff, no undergrounds because I drag them myself. I feel like I could reduce the amount of rotations here if I shift this up. Oh, but that would make this connection difficult. But like I could potentially put this here. Honestly, I think that it doesn't save much time. It doesn't make it that much more reliable, but it does make it messier. So let's not worry about it. I'm very confused by this connection. Let's see. I am very confused actually. This doesn't run all the time, so maybe because currently this doesn't actually get stone ever, does it? No, this never gets stone, so this design doesn't work. If we're planning to get 3 here, this just doesn't track. Also, this is going to be really annoying to do. I think we're going to have to shift this down some, but I don't know exactly how we're going to do that. We could have put a compressor here, maybe? That could work, because this could potentially be done by bots. This is land. Yeah, this could potentially be done by bots, and if not... Ooh, wait, can we circle this? Would that cause problems? I think that would cause problems. Would it? I feel like that is a type of compressor, and it's just backwards. So that seems silly. I should just do a compressor. It's stone. There we go. Let's just compress it. So we'll shift it up. Which one's the one that's done first? It would be this one. And then we send it up, and then we send another one up, right? So theoretically, this sends like half a belt here and a whole belt. Half a belt, whole belt, half belt. So yeah, that's all right. I think we can live with that. That's not terrible to place by hand. Don't know if we need a double compressor. We probably don't need a double compressor, but I'm not sure how the balance will work. But yeah, I don't think we need this. Actually, you know what it is? I think I know. So we have this one being prioed for some reason, but that's okay. Because they swap lanes. I don't know why they swap lanes. Especially because they go and they get compressed anyway. Okay, so which one is prioed? This right one is prioed, then they side swap for some bizarre ass reason. That just, there was clearly a reason, and it had to do with the old compressor, but now that we have this, you know, actually like kind of okay compressor, you know, a normal compressor, the priorities are different. So what I want to do is add a splitter where this stone is that we get later. I want this to send anything it has extra into a different section. I want it to be able to supplement the old lane. And now it won't supplement it for a while, but I definitely needs to be able to at some point. So that goes straight through, then this carries on. Because what I think will happen is once landfill kicks on, we'll be kind of hurting for stone. So I want to be able to supplement it once we get mining productivity. I way overshot that. I was like, I don't remember it being this far down, but oh well. Yeah, the answer is because it wasn't. This makes a lot more sense. This is why I'm glad we have the blueprints. Okay, there we go. That's way more reasonable. This can go straight through, and we can sideload here, and... Why do I hear dogs barking? I don't think they're here. They shouldn't be. We're expecting some, like, maintenance person to come sometime today. My dogs like to bark when people get here, which, you know, makes sense. Uh-oh. We messed up. I don't even know how I did that. How do I get rid of this? It does not like whatever that is. Yeah, the mod's a little bit glitchy sometimes with undergrounds if they get like split weirdly. We could try rebuilding the stage. Yeah, the mod, sometimes undergrounds get placed weirdly if you like paste them wrong and it doesn't delete their friend very well. Have not figured out exactly the order that causes it, which is why I'm unsure. Oh, this could be bad. This could be really bad. Rebuilding stage usually fixes things, but sometimes it just doesn't. It's very rare that it corrupts things. Usually, if you have like weird mods, it can. Like it corrupted things whenever I had what's it called? Editor extensions. Did not like that. No, it's currently rebuilding. It takes a while. There we go. Okay, so that got rid of that. Hopefully... Well, that wasn't the right stage, though. I don't know what stage we need to rebuild for this. Do we need to just rebuild everything? Isn't there a rebuild all? Okay. Well, I'm gonna go grab some water. This will be rebuilding for a little bit. Back in a jiff. Hopefully this fixes some bugs and doesn't corrupt a ton. But that's why we made a backup. Hello. It's still rebuilding. Welcome back. We just had a lot of underground errors scattered throughout our base, so we're currently hoping that things don't get too destroyed after we rebuild the stages. It's always a concern. Honestly, I almost timed that perfectly though, because it's on to the last stage already. But yeah, we have a lot of weird undergrounds that I don't remember placing. Don't know how they got misplaced, but we had like half of an underground placed underneath a rail that I just couldn't interact with. And that was, then on every single stage, because why would it not be on every stage? Still, it's worth it. This mod still saves a lot of time, even though occasionally I do bad things with it like that. That sounds weird, but yeah, occasionally I break things, which is not so bueno. I left my water. I went to refill it, but I left it like halfway between the sink and my and my chair. Okay, cool. Now I can switch the screen over. Even though I was technically back, I had the screen still up because I didn't want to risk tabbing out while it was almost done. Okay. Everything should be okay now. Now we can fix this connection and try not to break it. Okay, so far we've connected 8 and 10, or another 6. So we're up to 14. So that means here we somehow need to connect 10 lanes of iron. Okay. Let's assume that they connect through the middle. That seems reasonable to me, right? So these are all on one stage, which I don't think is realistic. Oh, that is the wrong blueprint. Which one has iron in it? This one has iron in it. But yeah, we don't actually have all of these things on one stage. But we haven't staged this part. This is pretty much everything for bots in like one stage. How do I do this? I think if we cut one of them early, that would work well. Okay, so this goes as far down as this. That's not too bad. Also, one of my friends told me the Twister movie has a similar plot to a Hallmark movie, which I think is a fantastic description of is it a horror movie? I think they're horror movies, but I also am very terrified of tornadoes. I don't think they're considered horror movies to people who don't have like that kind of fear. I'm not sure. I mean, they're definitely like some kind of thriller, right? Like they're people running away from tornadoes that are destroying their town. So it's definitely not just like it's definitely not just like a generic Mister action film, but yeah, I would say thriller maybe. Let's see, Twister movie genre. What does it? It does go by horror disaster, thriller, suspense. I guess those are words that tend to go together fairly frequently. It looks like we can get a belt through there pretty easily. In fact, we could cut this one through here. This cannot be mine. We're already breaking it. I love it. We just fixed this. we just fixed the errors, and we're already putting it through the ringer. If your train interchanges for mines, better to use chain signals everywhere instead of normal. Outposts are not fully designed for it, so it might be safer to have the whole line to it considered as a single part by trains. That might matter. I'll check. I don't think we have... I mean, I know we have chain signals. I don't think it considers them separate spots. I'll have to look. Like, we're using regular signals, but it considers everything from here to the other end as one segment. Why wouldn't that work? Actually, that's just the building train. I'm pretty... No, we have chain signals. So what are you thinking? Like replacing the building train part? Because these are already designed around chain signals. Because these obviously can't be chain signals. That doesn't make sense. So the only thing that it would change would be these, right? Because I think everywhere else we have chain. If you use normal signal on interchange with another train. I'm not sure which section you're referring to then. I'm not sure which part would break. We don't have any signals here. Do you mean here? Are these the ones that need to change? Or these? So I guess right or left. Not in prints. Oh, it's not in my prints? Oh! Oh, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. So if I ever have to cross paths manually, I should do this instead of signals. Is that what you mean? Since I was looking at them earlier. Okay. I was thinking you meant like the interchange to connect the miner. Okay, that seems very simple to do. Yeah, no, I see what you mean. Yeah, that tracks. You wouldn't want a train to stop there and have the segment be considered different. Yeah. No, that makes a lot more sense. I was really confused how this could break. But it could potentially break it because two trains could stop head to head and that would be bad. It would be unlikely, but it would be possible. Actually, it might be pretty likely, honestly. I don't think I have any train logic for how many can wait at stations. Okay, so we're connecting the iron. We have another one here that we can do. Okay, and these are also on this same layer. Yeah, the layers, the staging is definitely, oh, what's the word? Non-existent here. Honestly, the staging here, it's not that important. It is important to get this part staged early, especially this. So I need to make sure this is in its own blueprint and this is in its own blueprint. Other than that, though, I don't think staging is going to break too much. See, for electric bases, just save to use normal since they have some weird logic to prevent leaving more than 2 trains from one side. Oh, is that weird, like, is that weird signal that they have attached to another signal that I look at and am just in awe of what the heck it is? Did I miscount iron completely? Or am I missing lanes? Because I feel like I haven't connected 24. Let's see. This is 6, 10, 14, 18, 22. I have 24 in my notes. Did I double count? I might have double counted. Okay, so 24 is actually a lot more reasonable. That's not bad at all. It might be for this. You're assuming that too. Okay. That would make sense. Because it's a very weird logic. It has to have some archaic, maybe not archaic, it has to have some mysterious purpose. I could see that being it. Am I playing at slow speed? I am at half. Okay. It is running at half speed. Oh, it's because I have 2 instances open and I'm trying to run like 10 to 15 stages. I think it's about 12. But yeah, I forgot. I still have the other one open in case I need to count stuff. It's not, like, we're just doing a design. So it's not that bad that it's running at 50. It felt weird. Or sorry, 32. I just couldn't place it. Oh, wait. I think, you know what I think it is? I think I counted this as 4. Because they're yellow. Or because it's red. You rebuild it and it activated all entities. That tracks. That, it does make sense that it would, if rebuilding it, it would reset that. Okay, you know what? I guess there's no reason to leave them activated. Is there a disable all stages button? I don't think that one has a disable all entities button. We really mostly just need to disable the last couple. That'll probably get us to 60, because these are the ones with the most entities. 1 line down, 1 line down. No, that's just for this stage. Are you talking about the connection? Why don't I connect this earlier, actually? Not what you're referring to, but yeah, I should just connect this earlier. I wasn't sure where this connection was going to come from when I first built it. It is about the connection, okay. Did I miss one? I did, thank you. Oh, that's what... Okay. I see. Easy fix, fortunately. Thank you for catching that. Yeah, these are connections where if they are missed, definitely is important because these ones will not be fixed. Or these are the final connections. We can fix them, but these aren't. This one I don't have the excuse of, oh, we're going to be connecting it tomorrow. Because this is what we're doing now. Okay, there we go. Let's switch to the final stage. Let's see if we have anything spawning iron left, or copper, or stone. Actually, stone's fine. I don't think there's any more spawning stone either. So yeah, just everything. I feel like this is we definitely miscounted. Which, you know, we miscounted copper as well. I wonder if that happened at the same point. I probably counted like 2, 2, and then reset myself, and then counted 2 and 2 again. Because we're off with both of them. We were off with our counts with both of them by exactly 2 lanes. It sounds like I double counted like this. This is flipped. Interesting. I don't know how we keep flipping those. That doesn't really make sense how we can flip those so regularly, but we do. Okay, and there's another double underground. What the heck? I thought rebuilding the stage got rid of that. Oh, whatever. Either way, it's gone now. So we should be okay. Now these are connected by hand. Like fully connected by hand. We drag this belt by hand. Bots build this part, but I do want to do this connection manually. But yeah, I think this should be good. So these realistically starter patch, slightly big patch near the starter patch. We could even get all of these at once. So we just need starter patch and then 2 medium-sized patches for the remaining. Well, 2 large patches could get us the remaining 8, or 3 medium patches. But overall, it doesn't look too bad. Honestly, 22, it doesn't sound like a lot, but 22 versus 24 is actually pretty. That feels like a pretty big difference to me. Because that's like barely getting enough out of the starter patches or getting just enough. Because when we were looking through their base, we could see 23 pretty easily. 23 easily, 24 was a stretch. So 22 now falls into the easy category. And why did rebuilding not fix that? That's concerning. Is that something we changed just now? No. Kind of scary. Don't love it. I'm sure we'll figure it out. Okay. Now we just need to actually scan for our connections. This stone is attached. However, we should delete it because it comes from here. Anything that comes from a train, I'm trying to get rid of. And also, with the way this is set up, it's actually really easy to put infinity filters just directly here, or infinity chests. With this design, well, the copper is pretty easily. It depends how close the patches are to each other, but it was kind of tricky to get some of the copper connected, which is why you see it like side loading in random spots. Because we didn't want to add belts. We wanted it to be entirely fast loaders and infinity chests, so that way one decon planer gets rid of it. So we ended up side loading in really, really weird spots. So if that was still an infinite stone, does that mean we got the infinite stone that was lower? Let's find out. Yes, we did get rid of this one. However, we broke it. Cool. And that's why we double check our work. Which makes sense. We added the splitter later, but we added it on the wrong layer. So that explains why it would be broken, which means our fix is actually on the wrong layer, now that I think about it. So this is 4.1. Okay, so that's pretty late. That's not too bad. Okay, so I see all the connections over there. I believe we already did this one too. Okay, there's another weird... I'm assuming that has to be an underground. It feels like it's an underground to me. I don't know. I hope it doesn't cause problems. I don't really know how to get rid of it. Maybe if I rebuild the stage without a rail there, it could fix itself. But chances are it's not going to go in through the blueprint, so I don't think it's going to break things. And we can also manually purify the builds by copying them to a different stage blueprint world, which we've done that once before when we corrupted it with editor extensions. Okay, what's this? This is 7. Okay, so these are already connected. We're assuming we get 6 lanes of copper. 4 of them go here, 2 of them go up. Actually, sorry, 5 lanes of copper. At least there's no force stamp now. Oh, you mean like the damage we could cause if we had the force stamping from the expansion? Yeah, maybe it is a good thing we don't have that. I don't understand how these don't line up. Wait, how many are here? Oh, there's 6. Wait, why do we have 6 lanes there? I wonder if we miscounted. We'll keep one there. We obviously don't need it here, though. Okay, so we can move these back, too. Because realistically, we'll connect them back here, right? Yeah. Probably back here. Super Force will be super helpful for this. I don't know. It seems like it could potentially really break the mod, though. Considering just placements in general sometimes break it. But if it does, it's possible it could fix it. Like if it could just erase everything on that entity forever, or everything on that spot forever. But if it just simulates a decon planner, it wouldn't really do much. Because the mod has its own force delete, and even that doesn't really work all the time for those errors. Okay, well this stuff is all built by bots, so it can be kind of mess. Well, not mess. Messy is not the wrong word. Even more ideas how to break this mod? Oh yeah, lots of ideas. It's what we do for a living. Okay. Super Force will invalidate most of the need for staging. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. So like the stages, it wouldn't have like the fake. It would just have to consider what's different between the stages. Is that the idea? Like you won't actually have to put each blueprint on each stage because each one can just delete the previous one. But I mean, the mod is still conceptually useful for breaking apart bot queue. So not sure if it would get around the need for the mod. And respectively fix the mod. Would be nice though. Okay, let's go track down this belt. Let's see if I actually needed 6 copper or if I changed my mind and decided I didn't. Because we obviously expected to get 6 from here. If we look for infinity chest, yeah, if we look for an infinity chest, that would help us find it, right? Okay, so there's 2 infinity chests over here. Oh, there were these. Okay, that's fine. Infinity chests at the train stations are expected because we don't actually have patches connected. Okay, so it looks like we don't actually need that copper lane. I wonder. I think originally I was considering having a copper lane here that we compress up there to start this one earlier. And then we re-evaluated how much copper we needed, and we realized I didn't quite need it. I think that's it. Oh, yep, that's it. I was gonna be lazy and have the copper be here and then not have this connected manually, and this was gonna be sent around and compressed and be like the starting thing for the train. And then I restaged the train, and I think it made it a little bit better. Something along those lines. It was a while ago. But I remember we were going to have some weird deprioritized copper to try to make it run earlier. Then we realized the better solution is to just manually connect it instead of trying to be lazy with the compressor. So we will delete that. If we can't see it now, we probably don't need it. Like if there's nowhere to connect it, we're good. Okay, so that's a lot. I think that's all the manual connections we needed to do for a while. They're not, honestly, they weren't as messy as I expected. It also, within the base itself, 22 lanes of iron doesn't actually sound like a lot, which makes sense because we have 7 to 8 lanes coming from every train. It's like 3 trains is more resources than this. I think what made it sound like a lot is I was thinking in terms of yellow belts, but I usually thought of these in terms of red. So in my mind, I was comparing 22 to 3 when I should have been comparing 22 to 7. So just, yeah, conceptually, it technically doesn't change anything, but like how my brain was thinking about it, I thought it was going to be really hard to get the ore I needed. Okay, can I do anything to make this not have that turn? I think I could, and I think it's pretty reasonable. So if this was shifted up, well, I guess the tricky thing is we then run into these. So maybe I shift it down? Yeah, let's shift it down. Wait, does that do anything? Not really. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It just makes it that I have a longer stretch of belt to avoid messing up. To mess up instead. Okay, how would I build this? I'm trying to think how would I do upgrades here? There is this option of not making it completely smart beltable. But this lane is obviously going to be first. We're going to have 1 lane of steel, which would be one of these two. And then we add this copper lane. And I would probably do both of them at once since we're close to red belt at this point. And then I would upgrade steel. So that would lend it to this in terms of smart belting. This is another option though. So this would be iron, copper, iron, copper. I'm trying to think which would be easiest to build and not mess up. We could also try to go around it. That's an option too. Like maybe if we put this closer, then we don't have to think as much about it. Like if we send this here across a splitter, we have to do a weird curve at the top. But we don't have to think about smart belting order because it's going to be, there's a splitter there. So that one's already going to be too wide. And then don't know what to do about that. You know what? I do meme runs and speed runs. I think I can figure out the basics of connecting one thing in the blueprint. I can look at the blueprint and figure out how to build it. I don't know why I think I'm not going to have them. Hello, Guava. Welcome, welcome. We're doing great. We're connecting up some patches now, trying to get an estimate of how many resources I actually need. And it is less than I expected. I mean, it's still an absolute ton. Yeah, good point. They are hand connected. What I could do with the hand connections is leave this and then delete these, because the main reason I'm trying to be like particular about it is if this is in the blueprint, it's going to throw an error every time I go to place something, and it's going to try to like re-blueprint every time. So what I potentially could do is just delete these like really obvious stretches here, and then it's not going to throw errors with every blueprint. So then it gets into then it just focuses on the where. And what I could do is I could have like 2 combinators here, because I believe we don't produce constant combinators throughout our base, so we can use those as markers everywhere. The tricky thing is, I think we'll just have to go through. I think that'll be like one of the last things we do. Yeah, we would delete the whole crossing. I would delete basically everything after the compressor would be deleted. in this instance. I would actually probably move the compressor back a little bit, so that way they're all going straight, just so it's easier to do the connection points. But yeah, in that case, we'd probably delete everything. Oh, hold on. BRB. Hello, hello. Did I unmute myself? Yes, okay, cool. But yeah, as long as we just mark the inputs really close to these, it should be pretty obvious. The only thing that's weird actually is these, and that's because these are placed by bots, as far as I can know. Oh, hello, Agrin. haven't asked that for a while. Still no Linux. I do technically have it installed on my laptop now, though. I think, although I don't really use it. I stopped. It was too annoying to use. Not Linux. My laptop. It's really bad. It has like an annoying blue keyboard that I have to charge, which is awful. It was like an early stage of like 2-in-1 laptops where they thought it would be a great idea to have them connect by Bluetooth style connections, or like, instead of like a physical connection. Like nowadays 2-in-1 laptops usually have a physical connector and Bluetooth. Like it can use both. But each furnace group is one yellow belt pre-red and two. The stone might be a bit different. Depends if that gets upgraded at all. So the only reason the stone is different is because I don't actually need this until post bots. So that's the only reason this stuff is pre-done. It's also why it's undergrounds. So yeah, the only thing different about this is it's going to be there, so I know to not run belts through it, but it's not important for a really long time. So this is the only stuff that matters pre-bots. But yeah, like nowadays, like the iPad Pro, like those kinds of like keyboards, like you can physically disconnect them, and when you reconnect them, they actually have like a physical connector, which is how most things do it these days. It's just, the first year or two, they didn't realize it was a terrible idea to have a wireless connection on the thing you need to log into your computer. Like, who would have thought that if you can't log in to reconnect stuff, you can't reconnect stuff? By itself, wireless keyboards are great. It's just, when it's your only way of logging in, it's not. I wouldn't recommend it. If it was a dongle, it's different, but like, oh, no. Bluetooth should not have been used for this purpose. But yeah, that looks okay. We'll probably replace a lot of, well, these are bot built. We'll replace a lot of these belts with, I believe, we're smart enough. Yeah, it's a big if. I believe we're smart enough that if we just do this next to each one, like in front of each one, it will tell us where to connect stuff and we're good. And we only need the combinators on the first stage. We'll probably remove them from the later ones. And then that'll be good. So we'll leave this for now. Yeah, we'll leave this for now. We'll remove unfiltered items, because the stuff that we delete, we only need to delete right before we blueprint it. See, you despise Bluetooth, but you love your car. Your Bluetooth device is connected. I do like how they say that. It's just that perfectly robotic Siri-like voice telling me my Bluetooth is connected. But yeah, I love Bluetooth for specifically car music. I don't like Bluetooth headphones that much. I prefer 2.4 gigahertz, which I guess Bluetooth is also that, but it's a distinction that people know. But the point is, dongle life. There we go. Dongle life is where it's at. Okay, so what else is on the task list? Oh, stone connections are good. Let's see if we can fit bots in here. So bots are kind of tricky. First things first, we don't have lube up here. See, what do you mean connecting everything to Bluetooth is absolutely amazing? Just as Braun and their AI-powered Bluetooth toothbrush. You joke, but I bet there is something like that. Can you give a brief explanation of what I'm actually doing? So like just what the run is or what I'm working on right now? Doing everything to make power plant later. Well, the thing is, I don't have enough time to stream today to actually finish the power plant. So I don't want to I don't want to like start it and then be like halfway done before I leave for a week. Because I won't be streaming for a few days. And I don't want like a partially finished power plant. So I'm trying to do only tasks I know I can finish. The run itself. Okay, so this is a 100% run. It will be done with the official rules of 100%, so I could technically submit it as long as I do it before the expansion. Otherwise, I don't know what the rules would be. But I'm hoping to do it for the expansion. We'll see how things work out. Is it for the Bluetooth toothbrush? Because I am very curious about this. But yeah, so it's just a normal 100% run, fully vanilla, except we're using only burner inserters and burner drills and, you know, regular smelters as opposed to electric furnaces. So anything that has a burner alternative, basically we're using burners. So that is the basic premise of it. And it has to be fully vanilla because it needs to be submittable. So it's not everything is a burner. I mean, your links are trustworthy enough. Otherwise, normally I wouldn't take that as an explanation, but you're usually pretty good. Oh my gosh, it is a real toothbrush from Oral-B. Why? Whatever. Anyway, I know I do get some comments. People are worried about like it not being that complicated because not everything is a burner, and I can guarantee you it affects nothing. Almost nothing. It's like a one-to-one replacement of power poles with burner inserters. And honestly, in a lot of senses, it's actually harder. It's like, oh, well, everything's a burner? Like, this is what electric base would look like? Oh no, now it's a non-electric base. One-to-one rate? Yeah, pretty much. Basically, anywhere because you have like one power pole per assembling machine. So anywhere you have a power pole, you now have a electric inserter. There are some exceptions, like oil, you do need an input inserter. But that's really easy to do. So it's not... So for these cases, obviously, we would have to have a belt feeding back into them like that. It wouldn't be difficult, but it is technically a little bit harder to do oil. But for the parts where it counts, it's not too bad to have to do... it wouldn't be too bad to have fuel being added in. And I would much rather have it be vanilla than have it be marginally more complicated and not vanilla. They will be... No, I don't have any blueprints that will be Patreon or like subscriber only. The run will be submitted, ideally, so I'll have to have the replay there in the blueprints, or at least one of them. But I'll also, once they're done, I'll just have them posted as a link. I'll upload them to Drive as well. So yeah, they're not going to be like paywalled or anything. They'll be available. I'll probably upload the staged planning one as well to Drive because I don't think the file size is too high. But yeah, other people can try running it and beat the time, which I think will not be that difficult considering a lot of my run will be done with the controller. We'll see. I mean, that's fair. Even if you just want to look at it, that's totally fine. There are some awful design choices here. I will say that, but there's also some really cool ones. Yeah, so it's an estimated like 12-hour run is what I'm thinking. I just can't sit at a mouse and keyboard that long because of health stuff. So I'll have to do a little bit with the controller. It's not awful. Like it's not going to be a significant length of time. Or it's not going to... I don't have to do it for the mechanically hard parts. There we go. That's what I'm trying to say. The mechanically hard parts will mostly be done with mouse and keyboard. When I switch to a controller, it's going to be the stuff that's very blueprint heavy and like connecting trains. It's back and like neck issues, stuff like that. It's not exactly carpal tunnel. Let's see, some awful design choices like using burners only. But yeah, I don't like. It's not like a secret or anything. It's why my streams are sometimes a little bit skipped or short. Da -da. I think we can do direct feeding here and do something like this. I think that would work really well because it is a 1-to-1 ratio. I don't know how we're going to get the inputs. Hold up. Yeah, no, that's fair. No, it's not. I don't keep it that secret. Just because I mean, people when I stopped speed running, people were curious why. So I at least have that much information available. Why did I think this wouldn't fit? Oh, it. No, I don't know why I didn't think this would fit. That's fine. I think I could have the amount of pipe I need though, which would be nice. This should work. Maybe the reason I wasn't thinking it would work is because it would tessellate really weird if I wanted to make it really large. But yeah, this works totally fine. So I don't actually know how many we need. This can produce 0.75, so this would produce 450 bots over the 10-minute interval I need. That's actually good. That's actually totally fine. I'm also very likely going to use prod modules here. I don't know if we have enough battery production. It's tough, but we do have enough technically. Collect, do a troop and run where I just collect rocks for 12 hours. If he doesn't manually say rock every single time, I would be disappointed. Okay, now it should have slightly more production. This doesn't scale perfectly to do a 1-to-1, but it gives me a little bit more resources. So I'll take it. Okay, so this is 8. So this would be 10. Wait, I should probably check to make sure this actually works first, right? Yeah. So we have fuel from the side. That part's easy. This would be using the splitter design, I believe, which looks like this. And if I want to make it bot, not proof, but if I want to make it work well with bots, it would look something like this. So now this tessellates. Yeah, okay, that's all right. Yeah, okay, that's good. We have circuits down here. Now for the outputs for this, we could do same side in and out, right? Yeah, I could use the same belt. But this, unfortunately, has to use undergrounds because of this. That's it. That's why it normally doesn't tessellate well, because if this were in the hand building phase of the run, this part right here would be really annoying to do by hand. That's what it is. I was wondering why, like, I knew there was some weirdness about this design, but I could not figure out why. That's it. For bots, though, it doesn't make a huge difference, so we're good. Now, fuel could probably also come from the top. I'm not really sure. This is actually where it will be. So fuel would be from here, so it would come from the bottom. Okay. And now these need 4 inputs. So we have a couple options for that. If I can make it long, it's really easy. You didn't believe that you can play Factorio on a roller, so you had to Google it. They added it. When did the Switch report come out? 2020, end of 2022? I think they added it to PC like 6 months after that or something. So whenever the controller came out, they added, or whenever the Switch came out, they added it to PC a few months later. It's okay. Rate check the assembly to make sure it's making enough. I guess it's not making enough until we add the speed modules. But I know these aren't input limited in any way, and I know it's a 1-to-2 ratio, so it should be good. It's probably overproducing a little bit now. But yeah, their rates should be fine. Yeah. A little bit overproduction because of the prod modules affect the ratio. But it's a 1 to 2. That's the one value that's actually like a clean 1 to 2, I think. I'm not sure I have enough lube though. That's 12 lube. This is 10. So we actually need 2 lube assemblers, or we need a speed module, which is cheaper. You know what? This point in the run, it does not matter. Let's go with, ooh. Entity cost wise, modules are cheaper because it can grab 3 at once. Because it would be like 5 extra entities. Okay, we'll just go with speed modules. You know what? Who cares about the entity cost? There we go. We still need to figure out some kind of cracking. The way this is set up, a lot of our like the rocket fuel production for the train and this can back up. How much oil can it siphon off? I would be very surprised. Oh wait, we broke this. Wait, didn't we? No. I would be very surprised if it doesn't get enough because it only needs the heavy oil from like 2 of these or like 3. So if these can't send enough this way, I think there's not much we can do to help it. But yeah, it should, the fact that it's really close to these, it should prioritize them. If we're really worried, we could do this, and that would probably make it better. Well, yeah, it's getting cracked down, but it's going to go towards, it's generally going to go towards the closest side, right? So, like, this is a lot closer to these 5 than the cracking is, so I figured it would naturally flow towards here a little bit more. If we really wanted, we could add this. If there's not enough heavy oil, there might be some bigger problems in the whole base. Not really, actually. So the issue is that this is attached to specifically solid fuel production, and it's the least prioritized solid fuel production in the whole base. So the problem arises in the fact that I am siphoning off of this for light and heavy oil, but I'm not using that petroleum anywhere. So we need some way to make it that this very critical base has a way to get rid of petroleum. And I think the easiest option is to send the prio in a weird direction. Now it uses a little bit, it does use a little bit of petroleum here, but at a steady state, it doesn't really use enough. So I am slightly worried. Yeah, I think if we put a pump here, maybe we're okay. Or if we just decon this, because now it goes in a loop. Now it should definitely get enough heavy oil. This one is now not symmetrical, but that's okay. It hasn't been symmetrical for a while. But yeah, for this one, if there's not enough heavy oil, it's not a base issue. It's just this is deprioritized solid fuel. So we could buffer it. We could also just add petroleum tanks and like delete them every now and then. That's technically an option. We could also get it from the other side. So this is more prioritized than this one. So we could take it from here or have a backup. Actually, you know what? That's a good idea either way, isn't it? Like having backup. Oh, wait. Wait a minute. Hey, look at that. We were actually smart enough to do that. Although I don't know how these are going to prio. I think we actually need to do some kind of logic here. Because, like, no oil's going to go up this way. What if I do a pump? If I do a pump, it might work. Cannot build... Wait, what? Why the heck can't I build there? Did I click on the wrong pump? Did I click on an offshore pump? Probably did. Last idea might be to make logic for overfill and send it for a power plant. I know you used Kappa, but that's actually not... It's not a terrible option. It's really not. There we go. I think the pump will siphon off enough, because we don't need a ton of light oil, just like we don't need a ton of heavy oil. So, like, if we move this closer, and then we add a pump here, I think we're good. Okay, but now we've changed the price. Wait, why is that on a different layer? What layer did I build lube on? Huh. Weird. Don't know why I built it on that layer. Could turn excess petrol into plastic and turn into red chips. Also, second pump is backwards. Doesn't look like it. Looks good to me. Yeah, I don't see an issue with the pumps. It is what? Oh, yeah, it is what? What, a terrible idea? I mean, it would work for burning it. You use kappa to ideas that sound really stupid, but after thinking it over, it stops being like this as a final solution. I think it applies to ideas that I like it as ideas that are really dumb, but also would technically work. I think that's a good interpretation of it. But yeah, as long as we, I think as long as we take fuel from both sides, we're okay. Because between the two of these, a lot of this will go into furnaces. Between one half, I don't think it's a ton, but between both, we should be okay. Now, I think we can cut through here, actually, and be okay. It's not dumb if it works, comp sci workers. Yeah, that's fair. If it works, it ain't broken. Wait, that's a completely different expression. Never mind. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's the complete opposite of how I phrased it. The meaning's kind of the same. This breaks, right? No, never mind. That's good. Okay. I think that's all right. Yeah, that should be fine. We still need to power this stuff, but that's a fine. We're gonna have like a whole day of power pole celebration. But yeah, petrol into plastic and red chips is kind of rough. The issue with that is plastic uses to actually make red chips uses a whole lot of it uses a whole lot of green chips and wire, and we don't really have a use. We don't really have a use for red chips, like excess red chips. The most we could do is prioritize this over this lane for going into plastic. Because I think right now we're using this one for plastic. I haven't actually checked. We did some kind of bizarre priority for petroleum, and I don't remember where we did it. We're gonna have to look around for a bit to try to figure it out. See, the fact that there's not a lot of space between station makes them feel a lot more integrated into base, unlike electric station that feels like spike on it. This is your thinking for the whole solid fuel production over there. It definitely feels integrated into the base, and that's because it is. Like it just legitimately is integrated into the base. Okay, you know what it is? You know what we can do? If we reverse the prio and change the output prio. Because we have enough of a compressor here that this should work fine. So this will prioritize this lane right here. And then we do the same. So that will prioritize this new fuel over this back fuel. So that gets sent to basically this much is now running off of petroleum. And we don't use a ton of heavy oil, so this should be enough to consume most of the solid fuel. Well, it doesn't have to be a full production, just a priod production of plastic into chips. Okay, yeah, as long as if we can figure out. I guess these aren't connected at all. So if we just take this and we send it down, I think we'll be okay. Because if we have like a tank here with two connection points coming from here and here, I think we could have one of them be a priod and the other one be less priod. Like if one of them only runs if petroleum is like 50 and the other one only runs if it's 100. Although if it never fills up, that means it's never going to get full production. We turn one of them off if it's greater. There we go. That's the way we do it. Not the other way around. We turn them off if it's greater than, rather than turning them on if it's less than. So that way, they both run at 0. Yeah, very easy fix. I don't know why I was thinking we could only do one direction. But yeah, we do have this plastic production, which technically is just infinite connection right now. So that will be for next time. Prio important rocket fuel lube lanes. Don't know how. It's gonna have to be some bizarre pump magic with tanks, but we have a couple different sections of our base that need to be designed around this kind of prio. Namely rocket fuel. It's really just rocket fuel, honestly. Plastic doesn't matter. Because everything can be cracked down into light oil or into petroleum, but it can't go to light. So really it's rocket fuel. Rocket fuel and lube are the only things that can break. Let's see. Easier is to just use tank to monitor if there's excess and only turn on the output pump when it goes over a certain amount. Yeah, it's really just, for that, it comes down to which do I think I can fit easier. A pump and a tank here or a pump and a tank here. It's like that's normally how we do it, but there's a lot of spots here that it's kind of hard to fit tanks into and a pump. Like it's possible, but it's a little bit weird. Depends on the corner though. Like here, there's plenty of space, but if I had to do it for all 3 resources, it gets tricky. But if I just led it to a different tank and monitored the input into that tank, then it changes. But it should be fine. I think there's more space than there used to be. We cut down our refinery production by like 1 or 2 refineries, and that freed up this corner a lot. So I don't think it's nearly as messy as it was. So I think I just am fixing the wrong problem right now. Yeah, this one should be good. Oh yeah, someone said the pump was flipped. So this pump isn't sending stuff here and this pump isn't sending stuff here. They're both sending stuff to the middle. And the pump is to make it that it's a one-way valve that prioritizes this over cracking. Because without the pump, it would take a really long time for oil to naturally make its way there. But with the pump, it kind of gets a little bit of prio. Because we don't need a ton. We just need to siphon off a little bit of the extra fuel and send it to lube. And I feel like we had a connection that I needed to fix, but I don't remember what it was. Oh, this side. This side needs to be prioed to the rest of the lane. That's kind of tricky. It actually is just going to be wasteful, which is a little bit annoying. Well, the concerning one is the top ones, right? We're trying to siphon off light and heavy for additional production, so petrol is the concerning one. Yeah, I guess petrol is the only one that needs logic, isn't it? Yeah, and that has plenty of space. Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't need it on all of them. I would just need it on the one that can back up at that instance. So that should make it easier then. Okay, so this is actually going to prio to the right. Now this does decrease my maximum production a little bit, but not a ton. So this needs input prio left. And then this needs input prio left. Because we just want to make sure that this petroleum can make it to this. So we're wasting a little bit of entities here. But I think it seems easier to regulate it here than to regulate it elsewhere. And we can just wrap it around. This actually doesn't have to be a red belt. Now, if we were sending fuel to our outpost, it wouldn't be a problem. I thought I was going to be sending fuel to the outpost initially, which is why it was designed like so. And I didn't think prio would be a problem. Then it turns out sending fuel to the outposts adds a whole lot of complexity to the outposts and benefits me basically not at all. So we scrapped that idea pretty fast. And now we just have to mess with prios. Because yeah, if this stuff was being consumed for the outpost, it's never going to be a problem. We're always going to be using like tens of thousands every outpost. But yeah, we're not sending it to the outpost. It requires me to have a lot more train signals, and all it does is save like 5 minutes on every outpost, which means 5 minutes total off the final time. And I think mechanically having to deal with the train signals would lose me 5 minutes, so I think it seemed like not a worthwhile trade. But yeah, that's one way to do it. I guess I could have also changed the pipe to connect down at one of the earlier ones, which we could also do. We could have a mix of the two. But the important thing is this works. Now, how much do you... Ooh, 4 circuits? 4 circuits. Ugh. Do I have that many? I hope I have that many. I mean, we're gonna have to hope we do. So if we take it from here, should I deprio bots? Or should I do a 50-50 split? It's tough because I need a lot of circuits for this stuff, but only in bursts. So this value, not right at all. I do not need 45 at all. Siphon off the top makes it easier to get. Yeah, siphoning from the top definitely helps. It just, if they were all interconnected, then I don't have to think about it at all, is what I was thinking. But yeah, it says I need 45 circuits per second. I think that's a lie, because most of them idle like 90% of the time. So we're just going to split off here and hope we're good. The only idea would be to have a wagon on start and end of the building train just for fuel. That would not add a lot of complexity. Yeah, that was the idea. But one wagon saves basically no time. So one wagon holds 2,000 fuel, right? One wagon of fuel saves 30 seconds. How much do the undergrounds themselves need? For what? Oh, splitters? Splitters use 5, but it also is assuming that I'm producing like 4 times faster than I am. So that's why it's like it's not that reliable. And most of our splitters can also come from the main base. So like this number is so meaningless. At max production, they can use 7.5. Between the two of these, 11.5. But this we use 20. We use 20 every 10 minutes. So we use 2 per minute of these, and we use 20 per minute of these. And this is assuming we're using 90 per minute. So that's why it's a mix of we don't need these producing at full capacity all the time, just in bursts, mixed with burner inserters can't keep them running full speed anyway, so rate calculator is completely useless for this entire section. It also probably thinks we're using like 5,000 gears per second. Okay, 150 gears per second, but we're only using 45. Maybe 35. I think it's 45 though. I think we have a red belt plus another half a belt down here. This part's also inaccurate, actually. So if we take this and scale it down to 90, I think that's how many we have. So 90, 144, 144ths of this. Gosh, numbers for the whole base. I've ran the numbers for like sulfuric acid, and it thinks we produce so much more sulfuric acid than we do, because it doesn't realize that I can only run a sulfuric acid plant at like 10% speed or something like that. Like it really thinks I'm It really thinks I'm fully saturating a sulfuric acid plant that needs 6 items per second with my one inserter. So yeah, it's assuming I'm running it at like 20%, not running it at 20% speed. So we had to break it down into sections and do manual calculations, which we have to do that a lot. It's annoying, but you know, it's uh-oh. I was editing this on the wrong stage. Not a huge problem. It's not like we accidentally did an earlier stage, so it's an easier fix, but definitely not ideal. Okay, so lube. Honestly, I can make it closer, but we need this much space. We need this space anyway. I really don't benefit if I try to make this compact, do I? Like, it's not gonna... It might save me a small amount of roboports, but... Yeah, let's just take the easy route. Yeah, that's pretty straightforward. And now we take from this. Now we don't need a whole belt. If we do this, we should be good. We haven't done a belt snake in a while. Let's do a belt snake. They tend to be a little bit more optimal in terms of entity count at the cost of a slightly higher delay. But I don't think we're going to be delayed by fuel here, so we should be okay. Now, it's a little manual to do because I've already like half built it, but that's not too bad. But yeah, the alternative to this would be to have like a compressor everywhere, which would be rough. Nephrons does a lot of manual calculation, but mostly it works by testing it for 10 minutes and then checking what can break in actual runs. And after fixing it, 10 more things break. Yeah, that's her X. Yeah, most of our estimates were done using like real... We did test it with running the base for about 10 minutes as well. So yeah, we did use that to make sure we could produce enough. We did manual calculations to see how many assembly machines we actually needed. But we did do some experimental runs, or some experiments to see if we are actually producing even close to the right amount of junk, and we're good. Because I did some manual calculations, they just don't really work for these, because these have a fluctuating amount of steel, and it depends on these two backing up. But 10-minute average kind of balanced that out. Actually, no, the issue is, well, that was partly it, average, but also just the start delay is so high for burner stuff that it didn't give us a great estimate. But yeah, this will work. Or sorry, didn't give us a great estimate. It took a long time to give us a reasonable estimate. There we go. Honestly, if I shift it over, it looks a lot nicer. There's no reason not to, right? It has no disadvantage. It doesn't cost any more. Yeah, it's just, might as well. Looks better. Okay. So we need circuits to go over there, and they're over here. Well, glad we shifted it. Once power pole's going, we can use logic to better regulate how steel fluctuates. We could... I mean, we can do that without power poles. You can put logic on belts. It's not really a problem. It might be a little bit worse for performance. I'm not sure, but it's not like a serious issue. This needs to be side-loaded here. Is that on the correct side? But yeah, power poles definitely are prettier connections and a lot easier to move than belt connections. Because belt connections really hurt your head. Like, they look so ugly. I mean, let's see, where do we have it? We have something real ugly somewhere. This. So I don't have combinators by the time this needs to start producing. They produce a little bit too late. So we're reading the entire belt as best as we can to stop the assembly machine inserters instead of a memory cell. This will be a lot easier in the expansion. But yeah, we're just reading like the entire belt. It's great, but it looks awful. This is also very hard to see anything, but it's important logic, so we can't skip it. You can, but with polls, we can have the check here part of the logic by the train instead of by the assembler. I don't think our train can fill fast enough, and it's got to be parked enough for us to really use the train as part of the logic for like backing up a belt. Because I'm assuming you mean like if the train is full, stall like one of the assemblers, right? Like that's the vibe. Currently, our goal is to just back up the belts because the belts are long enough that they serve as like a 10-minute buffer. But because inserters are so bad, burner inserters are so bad at fluctuations, we can't really just stop it for multiple minutes. Don't you only need 3 batteries if you can just use the initial power as counter? No. Because it needs to keep producing and make tier 2 batteries. And I need batteries. I need batteries before we have tier 2 batteries up and running. Because the goal is to get exoskeletons and batteries before we do our first mining outpost. Hopefully it works out that way, but that's the plan. It might not work. But yeah, that's for tier 2s. Tier 1s. Tier 2 batteries are on logic. Memory cell logic. We could potentially also just do initial fuel, though. If we really wanted to there. We could probably do initial fuel for all of these, actually. Because most of these only need like 3. We need 90 refineries per outpost. It's, yeah. Or, sorry, 70. We need 70 refineries and chem plants per outpost. It's a lot. They pretty much need to be producing constantly. And they have a little bit of a belt buffer. Yeah, 70. At a steady state, we need 30, but we need 70 if we want the base to start in a reasonable time. So, like, if we only had 70, or if we only had 30, the start time would be, like, 1 to 2 hours. And then it just, decreases a lot after that. But if we have 70, we can output 30... I don't know if we're outputting 30 or 60 solid fuel per second with that. What's one chem plant? Half. Okay, so we're outputting 30 solid fuel per second. So we need an average of 10 to 15 to run the outpost, but we need 30 to start it if we want it to start in less than half an hour. And I don't want it to start like 30 to 60. I don't want it to start after an hour. So we have to really overdo fuel. And then we have belt prio, so that way once the fuel is backed up, it prioritizes the efficiency moduled refineries for the most part to decrease power consumption. So that's the working idea behind that. So far, it seems to work really well. The outpost starts in about 30 minutes. Should start in about 30 minutes with build time, maybe 45 if it's particularly. If I don't stage it, well, 30 is for the fuel, 10 minutes for the build time, so about 40 minutes. And I really don't want it to go into the hour mark. Because imagine, like, I build an outpost, and then an hour later I become UPS bottlenecked by it. Like, that's a very real concern. Let's see, if we move this up, let's see, here could be the outer layer, so it would be here, I think. Yeah, okay, cool. I don't know if I have enough space for this. I might not have enough space for this. Let's see. Never mind, we're good. I didn't account for the gap whenever I first set this up. Okay, so we need 2 inputs, we need 1 output, and then we should be good. Why am I copying it before it's fully built? That's silly. Okay, so since this is shorter, I think we'll actually use this design. We don't use this design very much. Using inserters. Something's off here. I think I placed the assembly machine in the wrong spot. No, wait, I didn't have a large enough gap. Oh, it happens. Not a big deal. We should still have enough space though. We only need 20. We barely have enough space, but hey, that's enough. Okay. Yeah, we don't tend to use the inserters like this very often. That's a lot of entity savings. We should take that. That saves like 80 entities. But yeah, we don't use this design very often because it's only good for very short stretches of inserters, and also it's a little bit bad for performance if you have it throughout the base. But for stretches like this where it's only supplying 2 inserters, it's not too bad. Also, I just haven't done it in a while, so I wanted to do it, but we might erase it. It's not a great design. Okay, and then this uses this design right here, just flipped. I mean, it's a good idea. It just on a large scale it falls off. It's more like this is more of a hand building technique than a bot technique. Just because the start delay for fuel is so bad with it. This is backwards. There we go. Was like, that is only grabbing from the splitter. It was not grabbing from the original belt. I wonder if we're producing enough batteries for this. It's hard to say. It's one of those things where I think we're producing enough batteries if our accumulators have finished. I don't know if we're producing them normally, though. Okay, so that goes on the outer layer. So this needs to be steel and batteries. Okay. You know what? I think we'll flip this belt. Yeah, we'll probably flip that belt. Because steel makes sense to come from here. Actually, everything's really going to come from this side. So we're probably flipping both of them. Oh, Danny, welcome, welcome. Okay. So that's steel and batteries. I don't love it. I think I'm going to shift it down. Just so I can get a straighter belt. Make it more obvious what's happening here. Because that was a bit too messy for me. Actually, yeah, that worked out well. Entity cost-wise. It uses the full drag. Okay, so this will be steel and batteries, and this one is electric engines and circuits. Okay, that one's good. And then we have one assembling here that's making construction bots, and it's a 1-to-1 ratio, right? Oh, it's 2-to-1. That means I'll probably need 2 inserters. Burner inserters are so bad. I need 2 inserters to produce bots. Like, come on. You can do that with a yellow. You can almost do that with a yellow inserter, but or like very easily with a fast inserter. But having to use 2 inserters to produce bots is just it's burners in a nutshell. I did not continue this through enough. I don't know why the command's not working. Nightbot might have checked out. There we go. But yeah, the gist of it is I'm getting every achievement in one stream, but I'm only using burner inserters, burner drills, and regular furnaces. Yeah, it will waste a little bit of battery, so if we just prio it, we should be good. We could also do a splitter here that filters out batteries and steel once we know which side each is going to be on. We could just do... We can either do this or this, whichever side works best. So we have a couple options. But the amount of batteries it's going to back up, I don't think it's going to be that significant. Yeah, we do have... There's also this option, actually. This is the lazy way to do it. This way it only backs up to 4 batteries. Well, it's not the lazy way. This is the the side neutral way to do it when I don't know what side the belt is going to be on. Okay, so batteries are produced here. Now this technically does produce enough for bots, but I don't think it produces enough for bots and I don't think it produces enough for bots and accumulators. It might be significant if your battery production is questionable. Well, worst case scenario, it is. Worst case scenario, it is a third of a train worth of bots. That's why I wasn't too worried. Because as long as we're prioritizing sending batteries here, which it would take forever for these to back up anyway, it's really only going to lose me 200 bots total. Like, they're not going to be... It's not a continuous consumption. It's just a one-off thing. So it's fine. Because we're sending... We want up to 600 bots every 10 minutes. This doesn't produce it, but between the two bot builds, we should have enough. The goal is up to 600. 300 is fine. If we get 300 every 10 minutes, that's enough for the outpost. Ideally, it's 600. Which is why I think this probably won't run full speed initially with the batteries we can give it, but it should bump up pretty quickly. So this is sideloading something. If I had to guess, it is sideload. I don't know what it's sideload. Wait, hold up. What are you doing? Okay, so batteries are over here. Batteries are sent up here. Batteries go through here. They go up. Oh my gosh. Anti of the past is a genius. He realized I needed these batteries up here. Thank you, Anti, for not screwing me over like you normally do. Look at that. I'm so happy. I didn't do something dumb. It's just the little victories, you know? Like you remembering to do some incredibly basic task, like probably weeks ago. But yeah, we definitely have questionable batteries. I think that is a given. We might be able to do something to speed this up. Like there is a chance that we have enough iron to maybe extend this a row. It's gonna be ugly, but I think we can do another set of batteries. So we do this, we'll move it up here. This goes through. Oh, this is gonna be messy. That iron fuel belt looks a little dumb, but I guess it works. Oh, you mean this thing? Yeah, it saves a lot of entities. It looks awful. But it was the best way I could get fuel to these without wasting a ton of entities to filter out the fuel. We could theoretically split off of this and not waste like 100 iron, but I'm not that worried about that. Yeah, let's add the possibility to expand this. Don't know how we would do that, but I think we should have enough copper. So we can put copper over here. Oh, if you thought that looked dumb, you're gonna love this. Well, this can go through, this can go down. Okay, that's something. That's the wrong side of the belt. Oh, I see what I can do. Yeah, this works. Okay, that gives me more copper. Now, how do we get iron? Cool, we did the easy part. Well, not the easy part. We did half of it. Actually, yeah, no, I was right the first time. That is the easy part. We need to move this up, move this down, make sure we added things on the correct layer. All in favor of the underground sideload. Do you think it's a neat trick? Yeah, the only reason I've been trying to avoid that when I can, because while it is a neat trick, it kind of locks you into a specific side for ore. So we didn't have it because I knew originally we were going to be changing sides a lot. Didn't really want to mess with it too much. I think now that we've connected these, though, the sides are pretty much set in stone. So we can probably start switching it to the side load. But originally there was a very useful reason being I was going to be switching them pretty much guaranteed. But now it should be okay. Because we did actually, these used to be on the other side. So it would have been very annoying to fix if we had done that earlier. This is just a fuel belt, right? Yeah, that's not side loaded or anything. Okay, there you go. There's your underground side load. It does make it that iron starts a little bit faster, which is nice. That's not normally the bottleneck, but you know, it's still nice. This one we don't actually want to side load. This one we could side load up here. Just to save a little bit of copper. The faster you back up copper, the faster things run a little bit more cleanly with burners, basically. This is so bizarre, but it does the job. But it's so weird. Okay, so I wanted to change this belt. We need to move it down a little bit to here, so that way we can add sulfuric. Yeah, that seems fine to me. Batteries go here. I like how these are powered, but these aren't, but none of them have power poles. Okay, so the only thing we're missing is iron. So this produces 2.5 iron per second. This consumes 2.7 iron per second. You know, this is almost enough. Unfortunately, these have no way of making it up there, so that doesn't help at all. Oof. Okay, how do we do this? How do we do this, actually? Why are batteries on here? Oh, this needs iron. Never mind. We don't have enough iron. Well, okay, this doesn't use a lot, but 2.6 plus 2.7, so we need 3.3 total, so we need another 2 furnaces. That's close enough. I think technically it's like 2. I need like 2.5 more furnaces. Yeah, it's close. It's close enough. Yeah, I don't think I need to care about that extra half of literally like 1% production. It's pretty small. Okay, so I think we could fit it here. Oh, you know what we can do? We can recycle the iron. I don't see a way to output from this, though. I don't know what this is, but this is obviously... This obviously needs to go through. So, let's see. We can't output from a furnace that we place here. Unless we put the inputs on the other side. This is a terrible spot for batteries. Ooh, this is an option. That's an option. And we do a splitter. Okay, okay. There's one. Can we do that again? Can we put one furnace here? I think we could put one furnace here. Okay. There we go. Now what? Oh no. I think I know what now what. Now we loop it. Okay, so what side of the belt? That's going on this side. This is going on that side. That's annoying. That means we can't cut it across, but we can force side load if we really want to. Okay. I see the vision. I see the vision. We need to sideload this one. Unfortunately, we need to sideload it onto the annoying side. Does this work? That puts it on this far side. I believe that is the wrong side. That puts it on the left side. Okay, so that's all we had to do. We just need to go straight first. Okay, so that puts on the left side. This side loads onto the left side. It is now on the left side. The belt's left side, if anyone's wondering. Okay. And then we add this later. We'll actually do the whole thing just because I don't like having Orphan Undergrounds split between stages if I can avoid it easily. Okay, so theoretically, that should work. Now, everything on this stage is disabled, so we aren't actually getting fuel, but no, that should be fine. Because we normally... Inserters can't grab from a splitter going horizontally that easily, but they can grab one going towards them. So that gives me, I think, enough iron. It doesn't technically get enough iron unless some of these back up, which is a little bit annoying. But I think that half a furnace of production is actually fine, because most of the time, a lot of our furnaces will be slightly backed up. So yeah, I think we're good. I think we had enough wiggle room that this does give us more batteries. And that uses up to 2.8. This wants to consume 1.5, so that leaves 1.3 going here. Are green chips 1-to-1 with stone furnaces? It's you do a 1-to-3. You do a 1-to-2 split with a half stone furnace, half steel. And then you can make it 1-to-1. And you can't really make it more because of inserter bottlenecks that easily anyway. It's like these could be a blue assembler, but I don't really gain any production out of it because then I'm iron limited. So if you do 1 stone plus 1 steel, you have a perfect ratio with direct feeding. This one is just downgraded to stone because I just didn't need the chips. So these ones on the end aren't a perfect ratio. They were just me not needing... I think I was saturating the belts, something like that. It's hard to tell when I look at the numbers, but I think it was just me not wanting to waste the iron if I can avoid it, because I want it to go past this as quickly as possible. And the slower the furnace, the better it is for that. So yeah, this saved like 4 steel furnaces. It just makes it that enough iron trickles through to these. That one's not the perfect ratio. And then when we do our outposts, we actually have a ratio of 3 steel furnaces to 2 steel furnaces. But that doesn't really work inside the main base because it's a very spread out design. At 17, yeah, it's not an accurate number. I think it's like 15.3 or 15.1. It's just a little bit over, which is why dropping it to 1 furnace basically fixes it. I think if we get the furnaces with it, we're good. Nah, that doesn't give us an extra number. Here we go. Wait, I know what we do. We multiply 17.038 times 15 divided by 15.85. That gives us the actual number. It's like 16.12. So yeah, that saturates the belt, which is why you have some of them downgraded. Honestly, that's assuming it gets enough wire, so I don't even know. I don't even know if that estimate's accurate enough. It's messy. It might have 1 extra assembler that can actually go on the belt, though. It might just be 1 longer than it needs to be. It's hard to say. It changes based on how many prod mods I have at the time and if I have stack size. So we just we have some things overdone. Yellow belt is 15 total, so anything over is rounded down to 15. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's just rate calculator is useless for burners. So like I know it's not at 17. It's not at 16 either. It's one of those things where like the number is not accurate. So I know it's 16's too high. It's not that high. It's not at 17 for sure. I don't think it's 16. It's somewhere in the low 15s rounded down. But it's one of those things where if I do one less assembler, it doesn't really, then it's too little. And wasting half of a furnace is not that significant. So it's just a balance, really. But yay, burners. They're so bad. I'm not loading onto one side of the belt. There's a side load halfway through. Or there should be. There should be a side load. Oh, wait. Um, they run very much not at full speed, don't they? How much copper wire does it need? 45. Let's look at an earlier lane. We don't have a side load, so I obviously didn't think it was necessary, or I copied the wrong one like 4 times. That's possible. Is rate calculator off by even more than I thought it was? Let's see, where would the correct one be? Did I mess up the side load? I thought I fixed that. I might have copied the wrong one. Wait, they're side loaded at the end. Interesting. Well, hold on, let's count. Yeah, no, it's correct. These only run at about 60% speed. That's what it is. This is just a quarter lane. That's what it is. Okay, yeah. It's assuming it can get 1.5 iron per second per assembly machine. We're only giving it 0.625. So these are running at about 45% speed to do direct feeding. So it uses 11 assemblers, but it direct feeds, which I think was a nice trade-off over not doing direct feeding. What the heck? There we go. Glad I figured it out. Glad I remembered what I was thinking this long ago. But yeah, these are limited by the amount of iron ore going in. It wouldn't be a problem, it would just be a slight waste. Because, like, chances are I'm not off by a factor of 2 anywhere. I definitely, a lot of time went into these. It wouldn't make sense if I was that off. But a factor of like 5% overproduced, that seems very reasonable. Especially when you have to just do rough estimates with burners anyway. But yeah, this design took way too long for it to be as simple as I forgot a side load. That I would feel so bad about the whole base after that. too much relies on that. But I think we're good. So we have the iron here. We have batteries going up. What are we missing? Steel. Steel. Okay, so steel can come from a couple different spots. Also, I don't know if this is pure batteries. I should probably check. Okay, we do a side load filter there. Okay, so it is pure batteries. We're just going to assume that's correct. Steel comes from... I believe there's a steel supplement somewhere here. There's also fresh steel over here. So bots are pretty important. I think we split off of this. Because this does come from multiple spots. I think we'll be okay. Now, belt buffer-wise, this is definitely going to waste a decent amount of steel, but well, I think it's a fair trade. 55% is probably meh, but 67% might affect future things. No, it wouldn't affect anything. No, it wouldn't affect anything. It's just, it would just be a waste thing at that point. That's why I'm not worried. If the worst case scenario, it's overproducing by a percentage, but nothing. It wouldn't be like I'm not planning around like 50% underproduction. If it was going the other way, it would be a lot more important. But fortunately, we know which direction it's going. We know it would be under. We know it would be overproduced, and that won't affect anything because once the belt backs up, it doesn't matter. The only thing that it wastes is space and a couple assembly machines and some furnaces. If I use the rate calculator for any estimates, it would be a lot different too. But fortunately, we do all of our calculations by hand. Because as we saw like 5 minutes ago, rate calculator is useless. It tells us nothing about what our build produces. Okay. That should be all right. We force a side load. That's good. Okay, so now we need gears and pipes, which we produce so many in so many places. Is there any chance that we have a gear pipe belt already? I think the odds of that are pretty much zero. So let's see. What are our options? There's this pipe belt, which is 50% pipe. Ooh, actually, this could be a good one. Yeah, no, this would be a good one to split off of. So this is 50% pipe, 50% red belt. So, and it's already basically where we need to go. Yeah. No, we're okay. It should be deproud enough that that's fine. Honestly, pipe, we produce like 5 per second, so this belt will back up fast enough. My biggest concern here would be if we forget to split it, but it looks like we've filtered it already. Okay, so we need gears to somehow get... We need gears to get there. Okay, you know what? That's not going to happen. We will instead do a side load up here where the pipe meets. That is way nicer. We'll do entity savings for that later. Okay, so this should have gears and iron on it. Actually, wait, we already done this? Oh, wait. Okay. And we will filter out gears to the right because I don't know what side of the belt it's on. We're going to do this. We'll send it up. I hope I'm building this at the right point. I have it in a very late stage because it's really just supplemental bots. And honestly, bot production will kickstart pretty fast here. Okay, I think this is all right. It needs to somehow get there. um, let's see. What are my options? If we move this down and we split the fuel earlier, I think we can make it work. The easiest way we can do this right now requires us to grab from a corner, and that's not good. But I think we end cap it that way, that way we don't grab from a turning belt, which ordinarily not an awful thing to do if it's pure fuel, but I do try to avoid it if I can, especially this late where the belts are cheap. Okay, that should be all we need to do. So that should be a gear and a pipe belt, assuming we filtered it correctly. Yeah, so this one's gears filtered out from that way. Then there's pipes filtered out from here, from the pure pipe belt. And then we have steel here and then batteries here. Okay, that should be all right. Don't know how well these will run. We might need to add some prods, but they don't need to run perfectly. They just need to run in general. If we could do If we could do a memory cell, that would be really nice. Because that will make it that we don't back up accumulators. How many do I need? Hmm, that's a good question. How many do I need? I'm thinking we don't need to be perfect. We need a combinator here, and then doesn't really matter which kind of combinator. I usually use these. Although I could also use an arithmetic. I think the logic for them's similar, right? We do each, we add 0 to it, and we output each. There we go. Nothing happens. Okay, so if we just read the hand contents, we disable if solar panels are greater than a certain... Oh, that one's tricky. So these stages are all... The stages for what we just added are fine. Flamers and bots, all of those are stage 5.1. We will be splitting this into multiple stages, but nothing here can really do anything without the others. So the order for these stages isn't that important. It's really just a matter of the staging. The staging there is really just a matter of making sure that bots build it in general and don't get overwhelmed by like 10k entities. But order of those stages is going to have a pretty minor effect. The ACUs and solars are counted in electric runs. You even need to deconstruct Solaris blueprint to regain it for satellites. Okay. How do you know? Do you happen to know how many you need for Solaris? What I was gonna do is take the amount of rockets we need and add like whatever Solaris is to that. Also, what does a satellite take? I think we need 17 satellites. So that's 1,700 solar panels and 1,700 accumulators. That's a lot. So it'll take a while before these shut off, but that's okay. I guess we could put a power pole. That should keep track of both. Wait, what? Oh, I was just lazy. You might have blueprint of it. Too lazy to run. That's fair. It just seemed like something that someone might have knowledge of, like just memorized. Because I definitely used to know it. I don't anymore. I don't know why. I was just curious and had the number in my head. But yeah, we can check it. Let's do the accumulators now. So we need 1,700. You know, I think I'm overdoing it on launches. Also, let's do a red wire. This is confusing to look at. It's too close to another system. You could be wrong, but you think it's like is it that small? They recycle a 3x6 grid? That's wild. I mean, I guess it's when it's basically free to do. It's just funny to me. Okay, so normal launch is set. Normal, I think normal amount of satellites is 7. And we need mining productivity 2. Or we need the first 2. So that's another 8, but we have prod 3s. So 7,500 divided by 1.2. It should be 7 more launches. So it should be 14 launches total. I think we can make do with 14. That should be enough for military. Well, we'll do an actual check later. Double check rocket satellite count. Currently aiming for 40. It's 20 solar, so that is like a 3x6 grid. That is so low. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about recycling solar panels. The only reason we're stopping the solar panels is because our copper is very barely produced enough, which is why we have to stop them. You can't make do with four. You do need a specific amount to get enough produced over the course of an hour. I don't think it's as low as four. I think you need at least like, I think that's what the 20 mark is, right? But you do need to be able to produce enough over the course of an hour, and think it's I think it's a couple dozen or a dozen or so solar panels at least for that. 14 launches. Okay, so for solar panels, I guess we can stop them at. Ooh, this one's actually tricky because these don't go into a chest, do they? I don't think we have a chest for Solaris. Okay, how do we do this? Okay, accumulator. Oh, it's really easy. Never mind. Is this a fuel belt? No. You haven't seen the wording of Solaris in a while, but if that's the mark, then that's the mark. Yeah, the wording is specifically produce enough over the course of an hour, or you have to produce a certain amount within an hour. I don't know if it takes exactly an hour. Like, if you produce it faster, I don't know if you get the achievement earlier. I've always wondered that. But you do need a certain number. I just don't know what it is. I could almost do it here, but this is fighting that for coal, which I don't love. So we have to add logic here. Read belt content, read belt content. We'll just make sure it's fairly saturated. Greater than like 5. That'll make it a little bit safer. And then this can just go into a chest, which honestly, probably we can keep like 20, right? Yeah, I think we can keep like 20. Logistics network, connect. Solar panels, less than 20. Because if that's all we need, that's all we need. And then we should do the exact same thing for accumulators, realizing. Ooh, wait, how do I get fuel here? Unfortunate. Unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, even with them letting it run the whole hour is probably fine. Like, I don't think that I don't think they place Solaris so late that it would matter. I guess because they can't. I guess because they recover them, it matters a little bit, but it barely matters. I think we need to split off more fuel, just because of how this section looks in terms of inserter priority. Ooh, this is a little bit weird, but it's fine. It's a little bit messy, but that's what happens when you forget. The other option, we probably could have also just buffered them at the silo. We might even have a spot for them at the silo. I'm not sure. Yeah, we have a spot for them at the silo. Of course we do. Well, that was fun. It's almost like we thought about. I honestly thought we hadn't given it. They place it right after the first rocket. Okay, so yeah, they might have it run for the whole hour. Because I legitimately don't know if it is necessary. Or like if it doesn't need to run for an hour. Because I think those per hour achievements are a little bit weird. Okay. So I want to disable these. We'll probably back up like 50 to 100 solar panels. So let's disable these at... Let's do an extra 100, just in case I somehow misjudge things completely. So that would be less than 1,500. These are enabled. So that gives me enough for Solaris. I think you can, if you If you do accumulators, I think you can get away with a slightly smaller Solaris, but you can also skip accumulators entirely. Okay, so that should be fine now. I don't know what this is. Oh, I was checking the recipe. He uses 7-8 solars and 0 accumulator. Wow. I mean, I guess, honestly, accumulators are more expensive for me right now, so I get that. Okay, so theoretically this works. Except for this one. What the heck? There we go. Now none of them change. That's a lot. Okay, if it's that many, you can definitely get it faster then. I feel like you would have to be able to. I just thought that one could only proc every hour. Or after a full hour. Guess I'm imagining things. How could I possibly imagine something for an achievement I haven't done in like 2 years? Wonder why. Okay, so if I put a solar panel in its hand, it should be good. I think this is a pretty basic logic, but we've messed up so many accumulators. There we go. We did it right. And 14 radar stories power from it. Yeah, the radars are cool. If you're not actually using solar power, you don't need accumulators. They just help things run at night. That's why I'm wondering why they don't just have... Maybe it reduces the amount of radars they need. Like if you have 14 accumulators, you only need 10 radars instead of 15 or something like that. I guess that is the difference. But yeah, if we skip the accumulators, we can just have these produce exactly how many we need, which I like. Where is our rocket, by the way? Okay, so we're planning for 16 launches. I think that is because I completely forgot that. Oh, actually, this is that's 13. No, that's 17. I completely forgot my research productivity was a thing, though. So yeah, that should be fine. Honestly, I don't think it will matter, but it's there if we need it. Solaris only cares about the solar panel power, so the accumulators don't matter. Yeah, they would only matter for making it that you waste the power during the night. If anything. But I don't even know if you need to waste the power for it to proc. Hold on, I'm getting a call. Never mind. Call wasn't working. Pretty sure you have to use the power, hence the radars. Yeah, that makes sense. I wasn't. I was thinking like maybe there was a chance they just had the radars to be useful, but having them as a requirement that does track. that definitely makes more sense. You know, I don't know how we have splitters. I probably should not count to the exact accumulator. I should probably add 100. I mean, worst case scenario, we change the logic mid-run. This is pretty easy logic as long as we can find it. See, there's easy entity save straight from the top leftmost beacon for the silo. Probably. We haven't tried entity save here. You mean here? Or here? Oh, you mean that easy entity save? Yep. Literally no disadvantages either. Same cost. Here, well, while we're here, let's see. Anything that saves 2 is worth it. That wouldn't be worth it. Gosh, we have the silo pretty late. Yeah, it's definitely, I can see why we would have chance for a bathroom break here. Especially since it's not like our builds are optimized that much for like having no downtime. That requires a lot of practice and a lot of knowledge of your own run and timings. There we go. There's some easy saves. I do like. Oh, I don't know if that side loads or not. It doesn't. Okay. Oh, but that one I can entity save on. Glad I actually checked that because I was gonna try. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of entity saves that we can do throughout the run. I don't. Well, I say a lot. I don't think it would save a ton of time, but there are probably maybe a few thousand underground or belts wasted. Actually, we've gone through a lot of them. I'd say at least 1,000. At least 1,000, maybe a 2,000 easy, relatively easy belt saves we could do that are mostly full length. If we really wanted to, we can save a lot of belt if we accept saving 2 entities, but I don't. I think the iron cost is too high for that most of the time. At least before the base is all built. Once I get to this half, I don't think it matters. So maybe I can be more entity saving here and more iron saving here. Hard to say. Oh, and then like this, like obviously. This is a really long stretch. But that can be another time. Honestly, that's just a lot of fine tuning we'll have to do later. I think. How did that die? Oh, this hasn't gotten solid fuel yet. That's why. But I think our battery. I think our bot production is good. We have limited these, which means we will get batteries a lot better. Over here, let's see. At the bot stage, the entity saving can definitely help. It's part of why the furnace belts at the start are done by the player if possible. So it's tricky because it lines up with that's also a very iron starved phase. So like entity saving is important, but using up 2 to 3 times more iron per tile is also a pretty significant loss. So like I could entity save, but wasting undergrounds on like partial undergrounds like this or this, the iron cost is pretty significant because that's right before I just started to get my iron production ramped up. Because this costs 1.5 iron per tile. This costs 3 iron per tile, and that's if you use it to its max. Whenever you're using it shorter, it's like 4 to 5 iron per tile. So that's mostly what I'm worried about. Anything like this long, I pretty much consider worth it, or a full length. Those are worth it, but these are in like that gray area where I can't fully justify them. Until a little bit later. Probably around here I can start justifying the 3 long. I don't think I'll ever be able to justify saving one entity though. That's not a lot of entities. Like doing an underground here. Or this one is what I mean by one entity. This underground seems the ROI on that seems pretty rough. But yeah, we got bots. Oh wait, we haven't outputted from the bots yet. Let's do that. But yeah, we'll definitely have whenever we do staging day, we'll probably do staging and belt cleanup at the same time. I do try to fix like really obvious saves when I see them, but I feel like I should do those together. Oh yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. It's just we don't really have a great because of burner inserters, we don't really have a great design where we can help speed up our furnaces. But that's also a completely different I feel like that's a completely different optimization than entity savings. Yeah, that's a whole different thing than entity savings. That's like manual placement. But because burner inserter builds are just so bad, I don't think there's any chance we're going to be helping furnaces once we get to bots, if I'm being honest. It's just not viable. Not unless we have a very, very, Very bad build. I guess it's a trade-off. Instead of hand building to help, we have direct feeding, which has a very significant reduction in entities. So it's not that we're not helping them, we just opted for this instead. It's a similar vein, but it's different math. Like, entity savings, in the way I was talking about it, is this versus this. When this isn't part of the equation, it's like, it's the same general topic, but it's a completely different question. In terms of like resources spent, because this is obviously way cheaper and way better for entity count, but that affects much different phase of the run. But yeah, we'll do what we can, but I don't think there are that many spots where we can do straight drags to help bots. My furnace designs are still better and cleaner compared to the new one of second anti. Yeah, I've seen some of the spaghetti. I don't like them. I don't like them. Can we go through here? But yeah, there might be a couple spots early on where we can assist bots that I need to look into. It's just with burners, the issue is that, I guess I just keep saying with burners, the specific issue is that we don't have places for bypass belts when we're using burner inserters because of this. So we don't have places for bypass undergrounds. So to give us places for bypass undergrounds, we instead have to feed them this way, or like here, which then makes it that this has to be an underground of some sort, because we weave them this way. And because of that, we can't do a full lane of undergrounds, is what it boils down to. Or a full lane of straight belts. Or it's a lot harder to. And then it gets a lot more complicated, so we just kind of avoided it in general. Because I don't know if it's worth it. It might be. And then I said I needed 2 input inserters for this, which is really funny. Can we do an underground through here? Honestly, yeah, that works. Yeah. Yeah, this is safe because it stops here. As long as it stops here, it's safe. And then I don't know how many we need. Is the yellow belt good enough? Or yellow assembler good enough? I think so, but I'm not confident, so we're going to do that just in case. It's facing the wrong way. I have no idea. That is a good question. The only time I ever noticed the day and night cycle is when I go through to like edit VODs. Or when I was making like the mouse only and the visible run. But outside of that, I have never once noticed the day and night cycle. Like, it doesn't bother me. It just makes it really hard to edit. I mean, I guess technically it affects solar panel calculations, but I've never really... I don't use solar panels very often, except outside of like space exploration, where I mostly use them in space where it's always daytime. So yeah, I have no idea. Are you trying to get an estimate of how many solar panels are necessary? I think I want to say the average production of a solar panel is 42. I don't know why, but that number is in my head. That's what I have as the average production of a solar panel. Huh. Where should I supplement these bots, actually? I don't know what side of the belt bots go on. We don't have any forced side loads either, and the belts are empty because we rebuilt the stages. Cool. How do I safely do this then? I don't know. Do I have to follow it all the way down? I think I might have to follow the belt. Okay, don't judge. Don't judge me for this. We're gonna just force it to one side. It doesn't matter what side it starts on. We're forcing it to one side so we know. There we go. Okay. Roboports are now on the left. Perfect. Or sorry, right? Roboports on the right. We just added bots on the left. Awesome. We did it. You see it every time you need to build something more complex. They're bad. You would delete 90% of day-night cycle in games visually. Oh yeah, that's fair. Most of my most of my time doing more complex stuff is this in editor mode. I don't generally do complex stuff in anything outside of editor. So that might also be why I don't notice it. I also for the past year I've just been playing with always day, but even before that, I'm talking about before that, I didn't notice it in speedruns. Because I know a lot of people hated how, like, whenever you're, like, speedrunning consistently, you always get to the power plant at the exact same time, so you always have it dark when you build the power plant, stuff like that. But I legitimately never noticed. But there we go. Additional bot production has been connected. And we just... this probably does nothing. I'm going to look back at it later and be like, this is stupid, but it's like 3 extra entities. So it's good. Having a hand build blueprint is bad for you. Hand building in general, it's tough. Like, I'm terrified to hand build this base. We're gonna have to, but I'm not looking. I mean, I am looking forward to it, but it's gonna be something. Especially when it gets like solar inserters on top of a coal patch at night. Oof, those are gonna be tough. Because they're just gray. That's just gray on gray on gray. Yeah, I figured it was mostly referring to the dark. I don't think it's going to be that much of a concern, except for like on patch building. Like anytime I just cover up a coal patch, I think will be really tough. I guess ghosts are kind of hard to see at night, aren't they? So like a gray inserter on top of a coal patch at night. Yeah, we're not seeing nothing there. Oof. Okay. I wanted to give one last look at furnaces to see if there's any lane we can help. Okay, we can help build the output lanes for steel. And that's it. That is our limit. We could build occasional long stretches like this. Wow, yeah, it's oh yeah, these aren't designed to run directly off of red belt. Should I put logic on these? That wouldn't help. Yeah, that wouldn't help. So yeah, this part of my design. Actually, there is a way. I could put logic on it and read it here. But this part of my base, it uses a lot of unsafe design, but that's because it's unsafe design that's going to be done manually. So fuel will already be backed up. The reason these died is because they started immediately, which just in an actual run, not going to happen. These are hand built with yellow. The only way this could happen is during the run is if I completely run out of coal and somehow don't prio it this way for a long time. So if your math is right, you need about 72 for Solaris. That sounds right. Although wait, if the blueprint for the other run is 20, how does that work? Okay, well, we can check. I think we have both. Also, I'll probably have to wrap this up soon. I wanted to do a slightly longer stream today because I won't be streaming for a few days. Wanted to wrap up as much as I could. Let's see, 100. We have Derek's Prince. If I search for Solaris. Okay, so he does 78. That makes sense. 100. Actually, what if I just type Solaris? Will it search within all the books? No. No, it doesn't. That makes sense, though. This also uses 78. So, I don't know. I guess I don't have that old of a blueprints. I just have slightly older version and then Derek's slightly updated version of that. I thought I had like a really old version. Oh well. 78. Okay, so that means we have, and we're overproducing up to 100, so we should be good. Ooh, wait. No, we're not. No, we're not. You know what the issue is? This can only buffer 50. So there is a situation where this could possibly, this would have too much buffered inside it, and this could not get 78. 72 gets it done with 8 Factorio days, and there's about 8.6 Factorio days in an hour. Ah, okay. I was wondering what the day was for. Or the daytime was for. For me, I would have just Googled like average solar panel production and multiplied that by 3,600. But same in effect. You just did the conversion manually, whereas I'm just like, I would cheat off someone's homework. Okay, how can we make this grab 78? What if we disable it? We do have this. Yeah, we'll have plenty of radars. Radars are just produced uncapped in the main mall. Okay, so we have a memory cycle. Or we have a memory cell. So we will just disable this. Actually, it's on the wrong stage. Okay, so we will read hand contents, pulse, disable solar panels, enable if less than, we'll do 80. Sure, that's good enough. The main thing is to not have to worry about this. We will limit it, for some reason, we'll limit it to 2. Don't know if that helps. I don't think it does. There we go. Because the issue we were running into earlier is the way that I had this set up. If I pasted Solaris too late, this would only back up 50, and the rest could be an internal buffer here, even though we're not launching more rockets. So now it has priority. But yeah, we don't... Radars are used by our outposts, and we just place them randomly throughout the run to explore more. So we don't have any sort of radar production limitation. We produce them, I believe. We at least produce them in our main mall. We probably produce them in our main mall. If not, I'm just kind of hoping I get enough from the original mall. But yeah, we'll have enough. We'll have more. We'll have 14 for sure. There they are. Yeah, these aren't limited. These are just by whatever happens to be on the belt. Although these don't go into a chest for a really long time. Oh wait, they go into here. Never mind, we're good. Don't they also launch a fish for the first rocket? Is it possible to just chest solar panels at the start, then have them get stored by the rocket after the hour's up? Chesting solar panels... I don't know how that would be any different than what I have. Like, manually moving solar panels around isn't a great option. Especially since this isn't complex and we already have the combinator here. If I had to add the combinator, it would be different. But this just works perfectly fine. Like, this will work. This works consistently. So we're good. Actually, I might do a splitter. No, it should be fine. These shouldn't be fighting for fuel. This one has priority and doesn't grab much. But yeah, I think we'll be okay. It does overproduce about 80 solar panels, which it's not the best, but it's not awful. If you're relying on infinite mining productivity, it's better to launch a fish for the last rocket, not the first rocket. So the thing is, mining productivity is still very expensive. So part of the reason you launch the fish is just because your satellite is still researching, right? You still have to produce 2,000 yellow science after you research rocket silo, and you have to produce another like 10,000 yellow science to actually get the mining productivity. So you do the fish first just to get it out of the way and to give your base some time to set up yellow science and satellite production. So it's not, I get what you're going for, but the amount of resources going into that one launch for a fish is pretty small. It's not going to delay my mining productivity by a ton. So we'll likely still do fish as the first, which we should probably actually have that. But yeah, we'll likely still do fish as the first. Somehow. Interesting. But yeah, we'll still do the fish as the first, because you just have, your base still has to build. And that 2,000 yellow science is actually a lot. Or 1,000, whatever it is. But yeah, it is 2,000. Yeah, unlocking space science is just a lot of science. So you're either idling research, or you're launching a silo, or you're launching a fish. Or you're either idling your silo or you launch a fish. Those are kind of the two options. If you had, if I could have larger buffers, maybe, but buffers are pretty bad. Let's see. What you mean with 78 is a rather significant amount, and chesting right at the assemblers would be more efficient. That way there wouldn't be any concerns about backing up problems. Fish inserter is also probably the only inserter that can be unsafe, you think? Well, the fish inserter doesn't need logic, so that's nice. We just need, well, it needs logic. We just need to disable it when it's done. Oh, wait, whoops. We actually changed this on the wrong layer. But yeah, I'm not sure what you mean with the chesting then. I mean, chesting right at the assembler is more efficient. Yeah, I'm not sure what the save is there. That should be one way to disable it. I feel like we need a way to manually enable this one. Honestly, it shouldn't matter. Yeah, we'll be fine. Good night, Artos. Yeah, we'll probably be wrapping up here soon, too. I just wanted to get this before I forgot about it. This might work. I mean, worst case scenario, we throw a fish in manually. We have to manually craft the silo anyway, basically, so it's not a huge deal. That's like the one manual thing we have. There just isn't a great way to craft a silo with burner inserters that doesn't take like 20 minutes because they're just so bad. So we'll just be gathering the resources by hand. Because any place that we would place something to handcraft a silo, it would be getting like 1 steel per second for 20 minutes. Like that's not an exaggeration. It would legitimately take like 20 minutes to craft. So we're just doing that by hand. You're surprised burners are fast enough for speed beacons to make sense. The silo is really slow. We probably don't need them, but it just helps with the burst production a little bit. But yeah, whenever you put prod mods in the silo, it just gets incredibly slow, and it takes like 5 to 10 minutes to like launch a rocket because you've just decreased the speed by like 60%. So the speed modules mostly just offset the prod mods that you add. I think on average I don't need them over the course of 4 hours, but I want to be able to get the researches that I can afford a little bit faster. But the savings are minor. Because we only need one launch we're only doing one launch every 10 minutes, I think. I think our goal is 4 to 6 launches per hour. for 3 hours, something like that. Then we have mining productivity. Then we have mining productivity 5. But yeah, they barely make sense. Same goes for labs. They technically are fast enough, and that's because none of these are moving more than one science at a time. Except I think technically we have military doubled up with yellow science because military isn't used for much. But yeah, we can justify speeds here as well. And that's mostly to save on prod 3s. But they're barely fast enough. They struggle. Ooh, interesting. Very interesting. Why is that fuel so low? Hold on, that seems kind of bad, actually. Why is that decreasing? Are we stopping the belt? Oh, we don't have any more we don't have any more fuel going in. I think this layer is half disabled, that's why. It's not getting any more fuel. We disabled everything from here to here to make it that our performance isn't awful. Because we actually, you can't see it. I have Factorio open in the background on a different instance in case we need to double check maths. I think this will work. Yeah, this should be fine. Realistically, this is going to be prepared to put a fish in long before this is ready. We could also do like a manual rotation. We could just delete it and replace it. I think there's options. Another option, we could have... Ooh, actually, which one's solar panels? Solar panels is this one. Okay, so if we take this... Ooh, this will break. If we have to manually insert a fish, this breaks. So hopefully this works. We give it the same fish logic of fish is greater than 0. There we go. So this doesn't put solar panels here until after we launch this one. Now this will delay this rocket, this first accumulator, by a minute, but it's fine. You don't think you need fish logic if you recall Silo's done well before satellite is done. See, that's fair for the electric run. It's not a reasonable assumption for first time doing a new base. That's mostly my concern. I don't really know what the timings will be trying a new build. Realistically, yeah, it's well done before the satellite. But we're planning for having some errors in timings. And this makes it not a problem. Put the logic on the radars. Oh, I could put well, could I put them on the radars? I think, can we pass it through here? I think we can pass it through here. The earlier we stop it, the better, right? It doesn't matter. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely less. Part of the reason I chose solar panels specifically was for this inserter. It didn't have to do with entity count. It had to do with Solaris. Actually, I did actually like that option. But yeah, it has to do with this doesn't steal solar panels, so we make sure this gets solar panels, so that way we can get the achievement. Normal timing is Silo first launch and other research satellite. Yeah. No, that's a very reasonable assumption. I just don't know how the timings will work for me. So it's very possible satellite might finish by the time we actually launch a Silo. If the start delay on a lot of our builds is too high. Because it's one of those things where yellow science will have been researching the whole time, but rocket parts probably isn't going to be built for like 20-30 minutes, or be up and running for another 20-30 minutes because of just how bad burner inserters are. The start delay for most of my builds is up to half an hour. So we need to account for that potential half-hour overlap. Fortunately, it's not like those delays stack on top of each other. It basically just means the whole run just ends like 30 minutes later. But yeah, for the most part, they don't like compound. Yeah, that should be good. We can get Solarius. We can get this. I think it's good. We can finish. Well, I was gonna say we'll finish this tomorrow, but we won't. So yeah, I'll be gone for Sunday through Tuesday at least, probably Friday as well. This would be really a stress-free run, having so much time between changes coming online. Yeah, it's definitely a stress-free 12 hours running a base that you made yourself. I wish. No, I think there's definitely going to be some stress, but it's going to be fun. Um, there isn't, in terms of player time, there's actually not a lot of downtime. It's just in terms of builds actually working, we have to account for a half-hour delay. See, if I wonder if the better logic is just produce plenty more solar panels then. I mean, this is just a backup. So like we have plenty of solar panels overproduced. This is just this is just a backup. It's a backup that maybe delays the first satellite launch by up to a minute, but it's not like it's not the main it's not the main logic we have. The main logic we have is already producing 100 extra solar panels out of the 80 we need. This is just secondary, helps this run a little bit better earlier on. Yeah, I would be more concerned if it was our only logic, but we're not. We didn't cut it that close with our logic, so it'll be fine. But yeah, there's definitely so much we have to do between the stages. Oh, connecting our outposts is so much work. Our outposts are a lot more complicated, and we have more of them because our patches are worse. Well, our patches are the same. We get half the resources out of every patch, which very much makes the connections for the same base size a lot worse. But that's it for me today. I'll be back hopefully Friday, but most likely won't be back until next Saturday. I'll keep it posted in the Discord though if it changes. But yeah, plan for me to be being back Saturday. Hope you all have a wonderful week, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.